Shut up and sit down.
Welcome, everybody, to the 3POA podcast, episode 26. We go live every other week. So 26, what's that mean? It's been 52 weeks since we started. That's our 1 year anniversary. Guys, we did it.
Happy birthday.
Anniversary.
We did a whole year without killing each other. And I think that's a pretty damn good accomplishment right there.
Came close a few times, but...
So we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary tonight, and I think we're going to be having a little drink. We're going to be doing a little giveaway. We got some giveaway prizes here, and we have a special guest.
Yep.
It is my esteemed pleasure to welcome legend of the toy industry and Bobby's good friend, Mr. David Vonner. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry, that's the wrong David Vonner. 1 minute. Here he is. David Vonner. Dave, welcome to the show. Oh.
It's a pleasure to be here. What's up?
What's going on, man?
What's
Thanks
happening?
for joining us tonight.
Hey. Super dope. Thank you so much for having me. Super dope for being here. Got my Dr. Doom head in my hand.
Dave, I think you're the first person who's actually found a use for that alternate head.
Oh, yeah. I actually love them. I have them like on my desk. You know, I have my my Master Mode head.
That Doom head. Yeah, that Doom head is really, really well done. It's just I only bought one Galactus, so I'm not going to display it with that head.
Do you have Titus standing next to the Doom head?
No, actually my desk is like got a lot of stuff. So I actually have all the other figures.
That was just an inside joke, a little ribbit, Jesse.
Titus is somewhere else.
Right on. Well, I want to start off the show by asking you a question. It's a hot topic in collecting today. Everyone's talking about this. It's really hot.
What is?
It's not controversial at all. Dave, how do you feel about the Bratz car? I got to know. The Bratz car. Have you seen the Bratz car?
I think it's dope. I mean, look, uses you can get out of that thing.
Well, look, you take your Mezco, Black Skull, you put him in there. He's doing a drive-by with this green gun. Look at that.
Yeah. Hey, everyone loved that Ghost Rider, car that HasLab had. And,
well,
it's a shame it didn't make it, but I thought it was pretty dope.
I thought it was dope too. I just didn't like that
looking.
price tag.
Not great priced.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It definitely. I definitely would have rather have it in a different offering, a different type of offering. Because I think stuff like that could really has longer legs to last, other than how it was offered.
Mm-hmm. And it was a really new character. He's only been around for less than 10 years.
Yeah. Plus anytime you can have vehicles in Marvel, I think that's just a win. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's what I mean. I think it should have been offered in a different way for the Marvel fans, because we want vehicles and for our figures and for our universe so much, in our collection. To me, it's just like glaringly missing. So I think that would be so dope to have.
Do you think that this HasLab failing a vehicle for Legends, do you think that affects future vehicles in the line? Will they shy away from it, from larger?
No,
than a
I mean,
motorcycle?
I think just like when anything fails, you just kind of figure what went wrong. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, I mean, just in my mind, approach it in a different way. You know, so I mean, there's tons of other, you know, things that can be offered from Marvel. So and also like in the HasLab type of way. So it's just, how do you really position it? What's the best way to do it? You know, so I just think that it's so many different items, so many different characters, so many things to offer. Is just really have to stand back and figure out, well, we failed this way. You know, how can we approach it in a different way?
How do you feel about a company like Hasbro doing crowdfunding stuff?
You know, that's kind of like a double-edged sword, you know, because it's like on one end it's like how else can we get some of the stuff that we want, but at the same time, by it being such a large company doing that, you know, it's like, well, you know, it just makes it a little bit strange to approach it in that crowdfunding kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, I just wish that it would, I mean, and that it really just goes to show how expensive it is to make products like toys like that. I mean, it's a very expensive and increasingly expensive, you know, endeavor. You know, and it just really is just a testament of how expensive it is, you know. But it does. I can't see how I can rub some people wrong, you know, like, because it's a major company and have all these other brands, you know, also making all these other monies, you know, so, and you know, what's going on in everyone's mind. And then it's like, wow, they have this crowdfunding project for this Marvel item, but yet they have so many other items that they're also selling, and you know, so it just is. I can see how it can just have a little bit of a bad taste within, you know, our community, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Because
go ahead, Bobby.
you were they talking about the Mattel Creations ring when you were still on WWE at Mattel, or was that something after?
Well, I mean, you got to remember, like, Matty Collector really kicked all this kind of off, right?
Yeah.
And also too, because it just made so much sense to go that route, the crowdfunding route, because, you know, because the things you want to make, either just, you know, the company never would make certain items like that, or like the price is just too high, just too costly of an endeavor. But the feeling is that the demand is there from the core audience. So back in the day when Matty Collector, you know, when that launched, it was a model that really made sense for this niche market. You know, it just made sense. So, and at Hasbro during that time, we were like, man, it would be so cool to have, you know, a model like that where we can actually tap into the core audience, our core fans, have certain product that we know, you know, would normally, you know, it wouldn't see the light of day anywhere else, but we can actually have it here, you know, and this way is like really made, you know, for us, by us. If you really want it, you put your money to it, those dollars go specifically into that particular product. So that was something that we had all, you know, thought was cool, you know, that we all wanted. But it was like, how do we go about actually making this a real business revenue, like a real, you know, a business profit revenue? Because I mean, you want to get into business to make money, right? Especially, I mean, you're not doing it just to tank yourself. You really want to make money and continue on. So it's like, how do you actually do this and make it something that's actually beneficial and profitable?
Yeah. I mean, I remember in 2014, you know, when we used to do those, you know, start of the season kind of like management meetings where you just pitch ideas. Shit, man, I remember I pitched a crowdfunding idea.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, that's a logistics nightmare. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, also too, I mean, remember, like, I mean, and it's just a series of things that led up to that whole idea of crowdfunding, like the whole I mean, just with movies and Blair Witch and how things were starting to come that way, then we started to see how guys started to crowdfund. So it just was like, it for us, because we're also the fans of the things that we buy, not only the things that we make, and being tapped into that culture, we just saw it as something that, why not have an offshoot of our business target stuff like that? Like even at Hasbro, I remember there was even discussions like before I got there, and a little bit while I was like, when I got there early on, was having like almost like a separate entity, almost like how Marvel had Max, the Max print line and all that, almost have like a separate entity where it's like you're like a separate just business where it just does nothing but their high-end collectible stuff, high-end big ticket items, all that. And it was, I mean, even then it was like serious discussions to have like something to create a business model like that. But again, it was like, well, how do we actually go about doing it? How is it going to sustain? How is it going to actually be profitable? It was all the same discussions.
Well, that was what I pitched. Remember when I did the 1-to-1 prop replica role plays and the 12-inch Legends?
Mm-hmm.
I had pitched that as a separate set, like under the Legends umbrella, but a separate high-end offering. And when we did the 12-inch ones, it was to compete with Hot Toys. And I told them, I said, guys, you're not going to compete with Hot Toys. People are going to spend $300 on a 12-inch figure because they want to spend $300. They're not looking for a $50 version of it. So I said, we need to offer something high-end. And the concept started out as something high-end. It had a 5th panel, closed box. And then retail pushed us to do basically just a 12-inch Legend at $50. And it was so watered down. I was like, why are you guys catering to the retailer? They're Transformers masterpieces in a closed box for $100 or more. And the retailer is telling you that we need to see the product. No, you don't. You are selling a high-end product. Keep it a high-end product. And that's like, I had this idea for it being a high-end Legends segment, and it just shit the bed after that.
Well, I mean, for certain retailers, they just don't want to really go outside of their comfort zone. Like they basically know the model that's going to work for them, and also too, like when you're thinking of a company like Hasbro, it's like their portfolio is so diversified. It's like there's so many items that's being made, from not just all like the Marvel brands, but all their other brands, and then all the items within that brand. So then it naturally has to be some type of selection as what's going to really take priority, what's really actually making us money, that's costing us less to make, but bringing in more. Like all those weights have to be factored, and sometimes, and a lot of times, like in our boys meeting, right, we wouldn't never really be privy to what's going on the girl side of the business, and all the items that's going on over there. But then when you see and hear all that stuff, it's like, man, how is this company going to actually have all of this stuff coming out at one time on these shelves and chase the same dollar? Like, how is that possible? So then when you start thinking on it, that end, it's like, man, certain brands are not going to get that type of attention where it warrants those type of items, like those big ticket kind of items, like a Hot Toys kind of thing, even though we feel, because we're the experts in that field, that's why we're there designing that stuff, right? We're there. Our eyes, our minds, everything is there. We feel as though, like, man, this is a business opportunity here. Like we're missing the boat right here. We're missing money on the table. But on their end, they're looking at all of the other items that's coming into play.
Sure.
And then that's when we have to weigh all of the options of what determines, like the item counts. I used to dread those. You remember at Hasbro, right? Like we had to basically have a number of items that was our cap.
It was predetermined. It was like You know, it was playing with like established rules, and you were just like, oh, all right.
And it was dreadful at times, you know, because it's like, man, you know, you knew what your heart desired, you knew what was better for the business, and then there's what's in between, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you, you know, but it was always, look, guys, we just have to have this number. And the numbers seemed to always get lower. That number always got lower as the years went on. And it just made it even more excruciating. Like, how are we actually going to, you know, really cater to our audience, cater to our core consumer who we see and we feel is demanding this, but there's no way that we can offer because our hands are increasingly becoming tied behind our backs.
Yep.
You know, and that's another thing that on the outside, a lot of guys aren't privy to. They don't really see all of that. They don't see. So therefore, there's not an understanding as to how those factors determine what ultimately is going to end up on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah. No, go ahead.
I mean, also too, it's like not only is your item counts getting lower, but then it's like, well, damn, then the money you have to play with is also, that's decreasing as well. You know, so
now that's the thing you see with a lot of like, you know, the collectors out there, because our fan community, sometimes we have tunnel vision, and they're like, oh, why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? Well, what they have to remember is collector now is much bigger, but collector in like 2014, 15, 16 was just a small portion of the pie. And it's like Hasbro makes toys for kids. That's where they make billions of dollars. It wasn't until like recently where they started to shift focus and starting to give more to the collector community because they saw that it was making more money.
And also too, there was like a business that had to be cultivated.
Yeah.
You actually had to cultivate that business. Like you always were around. How do you cultivate that business to cater to the fan base and turn them into consumers, right? Because we were always there, but then it was like, you know, it's like one thing kind of springboard off of another, and it just builds that community, which in turn kind of builds that business. So even though it was like, I mean, it was like we knew that there was a factor of that demand really being there. Like we always kind of felt that, but then it's like, how do you actually like reason that and put that into reasoning in the meeting or quantify that, right? Yeah. But we knew that. But then it's like, you know, you still have to be able to actually cultivate that business, like actually not necessarily like grow, but have a reasoning and an understand, like an education as to why this even has to exist for it to be less and less risk to be able to accept it. Right, because when we were there, and even before you were there, it was tough. Like for Marvel Legends, it was just a business that was so misunderstood.
Yeah.
Was this the Toy Biz days you're talking about now?
Like when Hasbro got the license, and this is right between the early days of, you know, the Toy Biz and Hasbro growing that business. It was very frustrating because, you know, a lot of what Hasbro wanted to do was follow their old business model, their formula of success. They wanted to follow that. Toy Biz had a different formula of success. And those two formulas just was so difficult to mesh in the beginning, because the idea of understanding that this business could actually be a business just really wasn't there. It took so much convincing. It just took so much convincing of the need to have these 6-inch action figures, while we need to go deep. You know, we don't necessarily have to have tons and tons and tons of the same characters, but the reason why we have to have those characters is so to justify even to have the amount of characters to be made that justifies the characters at all. So it's like we had to really establish a whole new reason as to why these guys have to exist. So we had to come up with the tier system, come up with the actual number of guys that are actually out there, come up with, you know, the kid versus the collector thing. You know, like we had to come up with all these different reasons as to why, you know, this business has to exist. You know, because it was just so much resistance.
Did the Build-A-Figure program that originated like with Toy Biz,
right?
Yeah, was that a way to get B-list, C-list characters into a wave because you're also selling a Build-A-Figure piece?
Well, I mean, even stuff like that was kind of a point of contention because it's like in some groups' mind, a Build-A-Figure should be an A-list character. In some folks' mind, why we waste an A-list character on a Build-A-Figure? Then it's like
the tooling cost. Yeah,
right. So then it's like, you know, and also too, like, you know, the idea of the Build-A-Figure had to change. Like, you know, in the beginning, we wanted to get your big guys, like your Galactuses, your Sentinels, you know, some of your wild guys, your wacky guys, your Mojos, and all that stuff. Then it kind of changed to why can't we just build an extra guy that should be in the line?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, that became a point of contention because, hey, you know, we wanted to do vehicles in the Build-A-Figure line, but that kind of wasn't. That was abandoned. So it was like certain ways to actually build out the universe. We had to figure out what was the best way to be able to do it in a cost-effective way, you know, and which is kind of like why you start to see like the whole Build-A-Figures kind of like, you know, almost shrink down, just become a little bit more normalized, you know, where it almost became like almost like in basketball, you got your sixth man, it almost just became the sixth man as opposed to like your all-star, you know, you know, it just kind of changed a little bit.
Well, I remember the wave that kind of changed my perception of things was, I remember the first or the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Dwight was doing the wave, and the first Guardians Legend sold really well. And I said, "Who's the Build-A-Figure for the second one?" He's like, "Mantis." And I said, "You're gonna have a small female figure as the Build-A-Figure?" And he's like, "That's what we're doing." And I remember thinking like, "Ooh, Build-A-Figures, you want to have this big figure. You want to feel like you're getting
right,
something."
like that's the way to build, like to have your all-star, like the guy that's either going to be your big boss, your big baddie, the character that you never would have expected to have, you know, something that's going to, you know, be the tie the whole thing together.
Yep.
You know, like that's just, you know, how in my mind the intent of what the Build-A-Figure should be. You know, I just feel if it should be a Build-A-Figure, in my mind it should be like we should go all out with whoever it should be.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
Like, you know, we can go on and on about the characters who should have been Build-A-Figures, but you can just kind of see over time how just the idea changed, and it was because how do we actually? There had to be confidence in this business model, because for a lot of people, it just didn't make sense.
I remember when the Return of Marvel Legends, when they did that Rocket Raccoon Build-A-Figure, and I'd kind of backed off of Marvel Legends for a few years, and I saw that at the store, and I'm like, what's going on?
Well, they did Rocket and Hitmonkey. It was like you got two small guys like right off the bat, and it was like, ooh.
And I was there. I was the guy that was collecting since Spider-Man Classics in 2001, right?
Right.
Those little characters were just accessories. Howard the Duck, Dupe, and I'm like, that's the Build-A-Figure now. Like, where are we at? And that's also, I think, when they went up to like $16 each, and that was like shocking at the time for me too, because I was used to like $9.99.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like it's so wild because, you know, it's so many ways that I wish that to offer those figures just in a different way, but still keep it Marvel, you know, and or keep it Legends and like, because we actually talked about doing Hitmonkey, and in my mind, I think like that's who was really wanted to be done. It was just how do we do Hitmonkey? Because that's how when the character was first came out, I was like, man, it's so cool to do Hitmonkey, right? So, but you know, it's like I just think, like you said, how those little figures were accessories back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, to me, I think like it could have been a business there that you could have just done nothing but the small guys and like, you know, mini Legends, X Babies and the Hitmonkeys and all that stuff. You could have went on and on and on and on and on, right?
I got speaking of X babies, I got this yesterday with my Mojo, which by the way, that new Mojo was great. And
Yeah.
I'm okay with them, doing like deluxe releases like this crazy.
Yeah, but it's just, and also too, it's like I did the Mojo.
Mhm.
I just wish there's just so much more to be done. There's so many more characters, and
Well, give us an example. Who would you like to see that hasn't been done yet? That could be a good big Build-A-Figure.
the High Evolutionary,
Good one.
Yep.
the Living Tribunal.
A Living Tribunal is like big on my list. When I was on Legends, I was like, where can I put the Living Tribunal?
Yeah, I mean, I know exactly how I wanted to do them. You know what I mean? Ego the Living Planet, I thought what could have been done in a cool way where you could have even. I just thought that really could have been a cool way to execute that. And of course, like I really, really wanted it. I think that could have been a really cool way to satisfy the fans with Fin Fang Foom. Like if you're going to bring forth like some guys from the past, because Fin Fang Foom was one of those things that was it's so kind of endearing, and I think I would have rather had something like that. You know what I mean? And with the pants, with his purple pants and all that, so just kind of give the fans just kind of toss them a bone, So I mean, there's thousands of characters that could have been done, and I would have leaned towards that,
On one of our shows, I was talking. I think it was when we were talking about the Sentinel or Galactus. I was talking about how I would have done Eternity, and it's like you mold him in a smoky translucent with the glitter, but then you have the planets as separate parts molded inside of his true body. It's like,
that would be dope.
So awesome.
That would be
So
dope.
awesome.
That would be really, really dope. So yeah, I mean, just like Celestials, I mean, it just would have been so much, that I felt, or even like the in between guys. Like you don't have to go giant. You know what I'm saying? Like. And that was one of the things that I loved about Marvel Universe, because it was a way to actually have those larger figures that, but like the intermediate kind of size, if you 12 inch or like from 10 to 12 inches, right? But you could have so many other characters that could have, fallen right into that, whereas like you don't have to buy a whole bunch of guys in the line.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to pay an astronomical price for that figure. It kind of just falls right in line with, what I felt was a comfortable price range, So and also too, just with that scale, with the 33/4 inch scale, just kind of gives it more credence to have certain characters you can really see. All right, now this is like the universe I can really build, get away with certain scales a little bit better, So.
When Hasbro started that 12-inch line, I was waiting for Ant-Man because he works at any scale. I'm like, when's Ant-Man coming? When's Ant-Man coming?
That's why I did that Comic-Con set that had the 12-inch one, it had the 6-inch figure, and the 3 3/4 inch figure. So it was like a set for every scale.
Yeah, and almost like an animation, right? If you get them together, and that's like another. It's just so many things so many opportunities that I felt could have been bought from the comics or the cartoons in a way that could have been very, very unique product, like for instance, one of the things I always wanted to push, right, was Captain America, like a Captain America set, but they're actually, my Galactus just fell over.
That's happened to me a few times. I keep him right next to me too. I keep him right
I was
here.
playing with him, and I put some.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about this Galactus in a second.
Just in case I got to burp him or something during the show.
But what I wanted was to have like, like in the comic books when they want to show Captain America like training, and it would show like his entire like the movement in the training room. They would ghost out all the drawings of him, to ultimately get to where he was, right? Like he'd be swinging and doing the flip, but it was like an animation. You could see everything. What I wanted to do was actually have like a pack where it's like different variations of the clarity of him, in all those different poses and whatnot. Like so you can actually have that, you know what I mean? So you can have him doing all this stuff from start to finish.
That's what we did. Like, that's bringing the comic to life. That's what, like, we never did, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
See, stuff like that. Like, that's what, it was like trying to push like the whole reason behind Spider-Man's Amazing Friends. So then we can lean into that animation, which really leans heavily into the comics. So we can even do like a Swarm or a Zax, and it kind of makes sense. It's kind of fun for the fans because they showed up in the cartoon, but it's like give credence to it if we lean into it a little bit more and not just always make a series of runoffs. And I think that that's kind of like the problem. Like, at least how it was for us at Marvel is like, since we always have to justify everything that we want to do always seemed to be a one-off thing.
Yeah.
Whereas with other brands, they always had like this.
They told a story.
They told a story.
Yeah.
They told a story with the product. It was like a story arc with the product, especially with Star Wars.
Yeah. Transformers, man. Transformers, they told stories through every assortment.
And I think what happens with that is unfairly is thrown into the Marvel team. Like, the Marvel team doesn't care, the Marvel team doesn't know. But it's like, as you know, you're sitting there literally fighting blood and guts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're frustrated. Like, you gotta, really, your health gets out of whack, your mind gets out of whack, because it's like, why are we not seeing the obvious?
Yeah.
But I think that that's how it always was for us. And if you kind of look at everything, like when you really step back and look at all the Marvel products, it's like a series just one-off events where, and I think that really came by way of always trying to fight for the reason behind everything. Whereas, like you said, with Transformers or G.I. Joe or Star Wars, it just seems as though that they always have the ability to tell more of a story with their products.
Yeah.
With their lines.
It's odd because Marvel had such a rich, storied history. That's what always it was
so much so that all that stuff is inspired from it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, come on, man. Like, when I look at Darth Vader, I'm looking at Dr. Doom. We all know the connection between Marvel and G.I. Joe. We all know this. So it's like, we know that. And I think that's also what frustrated me too. That the fact that Marvel inspired so much, I felt like, why are we so handcuffed? Like, why is the Marvel team so handcuffed, or what we want to do so handcuffed, when clearly we have all the elements for major events and, items and programs, and it was so many things that we wanted to do there that for one reason or another just fell on ears that just wasn't listening.
It was tough, man. I mean, like, I remember my Legends waves at the end there. It's like I would pitch the initial wave telling a story. My Spider-Man characters were part of a story, part of an era. And you got Jesse like, no, we got to put modern publication in there. So it's like I had to waste 2 figures on a modern story. Then it's like, oh, well, we can't do this figure because of the rights with the creator. So it's like, then you got this wave that's kind of thrown together, and you're like, where's the story?
Right. It's like a death by paper cuts, right? Like, and that's how it really is. Like, especially when you build the line out, because if people really could see how you really build your line out, your waves out, they will go nuts. They will go nuts. How you have it front to back loaded up. You're like, yo, this is it. It's like every wave in your assortments is like the awesome, because you got it loaded up from, this is my A guy, this is my anchor guy, this is the guy that I know is going to be out of the blue hit him. We can use the tooling for this. We can, you really have it already established in your mind. And then the moment you start presenting it, that's when it's like death by paper cuts. Then you start realizing, well, hey, we can't do this character because, we got some issues with the creators on that. We can't do this because we got to hold off doing this character because it's going to be in the movie and whatever, so and so. So there's a bigger thing that's going on with that. You know what I mean? So then it's like, certain things that's really beyond your control starts raveling, and it all makes sense. And that's the thing that's even more crazy. Because like once you start like when you start talking to Jesse and everything, you start understanding, like you have to start deconstructing things, move things away. You're like, man, well, all right, now that I have this information, had I known this before, I would have kind of, rigged it a little different way.
Yeah. Because you're sitting there pissed off because you're like, man, they changed what I had was perfect. And then they changed it. And it's like, dude, man, I've said it 100 times on this podcast, how I had to fight Jesse on Kingpin as a Build-A-Figure because of his perception of Kingpin and my perception of Kingpin listening to the community. And then it's like, it's a lot of
you know what? That right there.
Yeah.
That what you just said right there about his perspective and your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel is very subjective. And what adds on to that, what locks even further is then you have different artist interpretations.
Yeah.
You have different writer interpretations. You have different events. So it's like, it is not like we actually have a film that is the Bible or a cartoon that is the Bible. It's totally different. The only other thing that in my mind that I work with that is as complex yet different is WWE. Mm-hmm. Or when you're dealing with something like that, because it's so many different individuals and everything happens real time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the real time factor is the thing that makes it that unique element. But with Marvel, there's so many different artists that did so many different iterations of the same characters.
Yep.
And each of those artists or writers or creators added another dimension to the character that ultimately leads you and Jesse to having a completely different view of the same character.
Sure.
It's a weird thing.
But you can go a step further, and internally at Hasbro, like perfect example. I did my Spider-Man waves. I did my last wave, and then I got let go, but my last wave was ready to go. We did the paint masters, we did everything. Me and Tony butted heads on the Scorpion figure, because I made Scorpion so that he showed his cowl. He showed his mouth. And there's one cover in all of existence
in the entire Marvel
where his face is covered in green and his mouth is open. And I left, and since I left, Tony painted over the face on the side of the box. The artwork shows the mouth. Everywhere else it shows. He painted it at the last minute because that was his interpretation of it. And he ended up texting me sorry man, it was the wrong move. And then they end up doing the throwback retro run with the mouth showing, and it's like, man, you screwed up the figure that I had planned because you were thinking upon yourself to paint something after I got let go.
You know why I'm laughing so hard? Because there's a thing with anyone who works on Marvel product. It's a thing. It's a unique thing with us that binds us, and that is, there's one particular thing about a character that we hold so dear to that we cannot get past, and that determines whether the character is right or wrong.
Sure.
That Scorpion face thing is one of them. I'm going to tell you another thing that drives Damon Nee nuts, and that is on Venom or on Black Spider-Man, the black dot in the white part of the thing. Oh my goodness.
The black dot, just the dot.
Oh my goodness. If that dot isn't there, you better believe you're gonna feel it from Damon. You're gonna feel the wrath. But it's like one of those things. This is like, it's just a pet peeve. You know, some people is how many stripes are on Captain America's,
Sure.
It's like, if it's too many, it's like he looks ridiculous, and they will fight you down for that. Some people, the purple on Hawkeye, I've had that one. It's always that one. It's always something.
And Tony butted heads on Kingpin because I was doing Kingpin and I said, listen, I'm going to modern him up a little bit because the purple pants and the orange vest is fucking stupid. So I classied him up a little bit. I put him in a white suit with a black shirt, made him real modern, but kept him in the white suit. And Tony's like, you can't do this. You can't do it. You got to give him the purple pants and the orange vest. I said, no, this is my Kingpin. This is what I'm doing. But luckily they got that version out.
You got to have the purple.
Huh?
You got to have the purple.
You got to have the purple. But my version was more of a modern take on it. But yeah, they got the purple version.
So
and that's
what do you guys think about Galactus?
So we only have Dave for a little bit longer, and I want to get into this. So Dave, for those of you who don't know, was the man behind Marvel Universe, which I took over and did a terrible job commanding.
No, you didn't. No, you did not. No, you did not.
We want to talk with Dave about how he feels about Galactus and Sentinel, because he is the man that did the best versions of these prior to this. Whether, but that's to be debated, whether like the universe
it's
version.
To be debated. It goes into what I was saying. Like, Marvel is very subjective, right? I mean, for me, I dig them. I really dig how big they are, and that's cool. But one of the things that I wanted to do, like I always felt like these were an evolution, right? The Build-A-Figure is one thing. The Build-A-Figure was just like, man, we actually got it. We actually have something this huge, that could tower over our stuff. With me, with the Galactus and Sentinel, what I wanted to do, and really it was a third, it was going to be Ant-Man in it too, with Giant Man. But what I wanted to do was not only pay homage to that, but take it to the next further where you can actually, it can actually have something more about it. And the only thing that was, other than just making it big, was actually have it come to life in some kind of way, where you can actually hear it, and see the light. So with these, that's the thing that I feel as though it's like I would love to be able to hear some sound, like have some more interaction with it, something that's going to make it a little bit more just different, that's the only thing. I mean, I think they're beautiful. I love the interactive, the interchangeable masks and everything. And I dig that. But I just wish, man, it's just, when I turn on the light, it's just, I'm sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It becomes the thing that I felt on our team we absolutely wanted to avoid, and was just to have a watch me toy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know what the cost of things are. You know how we do it. It's like the board that's in the Sentinel and Galactus, you could easily have programmed sounds into that. Now, granted, you would have needed a speaker, which obviously added cost. But it's like something that's $400. I feel like you gotta have it.
I mean, especially if I gotta put, like, if there's two compartments for two separate electronics.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, for the Sentinel, I get it. But for Galactus,
yep.
It just I would love to be able to hear him speak.
The Marvel Universe one you did speaks.
And that's Jesse Falcon, by the way.
Yeah, that one's still really nice. It's not big enough for Legends,
right?
But that's still a dope figure.
I mean, it was really just number one. There was no one of the reasons why those guys are special, because there was no plan for that. Like, and as Bobby knows, with Marvel Universe, you had to fight for every drop you had. So there was no plan for that. That was something that I just kind of went rogue on and presented. But also too, I just love the fact, like, I love Marvel cartoons, and I first fell in love with Galactus really on the old Hanna-Barbera Fantastic Four cartoon. Like, that's when I fell in love with him, you know what I mean? And hearing like the echo in his voice. And actually, that's why me and Jesse I was actually trying to get Jesse. We had so many takes for this, I swear. And Scott George, our old marketing guy, it was hilarious. He found the whole recording session hilarious, because I wanted Jesse to sound like the guy from the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon, and it was like an extra like echo. He just sounded so booming. Plus, I was a little kid, so I just, in my mind, I had something totally different than what Jesse was was capturing. So we had so many takes. And he was like, look, you're going to get what you're going to get.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, I mean, so it's just like stuff like that. Like that was the whole reason behind, like, you know, even like not just with Marvel, but anything that I'm involved with, I really just play it in my mind like it's an actual like the cartoon or the movie, you know. And because also too, I'm the only child. Like being a kid, your toys really come to life. There's no distractions, so you can really let your imagination kind of really roam free. So it's always cool to have something that the figure just does, just to give it a little bit of uniqueness. With Master Universe back in the day, I love the fact you could take the armor off. Like I thought that was really cool. I mean, that led to actually me taking my figure to my mom, like, yo, can you sew up some clothes for my guy? So, you know, and that led to customization. Like I never would have thought to do that had the stuff been molded onto the figure. But
yeah, that's awesome.
You know,
Mrs. Like, Vonner was doing it before Mezco. How about that? That's cool.
She was, you know, and I mean, she almost like, and because she was always sew my clothes and curtains and tablecloths, all kind of stuff. So it's like, man, I just ran to her with the extra fabric she had. Like, yo, can you make, you know, Prince Adam another jacket, you know, or like a sleeve?
Get that pink shit out of here.
Yeah, you know, so that was cool. So I just wish it was been something that would just took both of these guys, the Sentinel and Galactus, just a little extra further.
Yeah.
The heads are cool. The heads are cool. The extra figures that you get with it is cool. And I get it. You know, I can almost hear the intense arguments that were going on from the engineers about.
But see, one of the unlocks, it's like, listen, I know people want more figures, but it's like an unlock should have been the speaker. You know?
That'd have been cool.
Granted, it should have been there from the start, but if you gotta get more money for it, you know.
But even like right now, right? Like right now with the Nacelle company, like we're doing RoboForce, which is super cool, and it's like it's so dope because it's like a reimagining of these robots from back in the day, right? So the cool part was actually having the freedom to be like, yo, let's reimagine these dudes. Like, let's reimagine them, but still keep the fun. Mm-hmm. And the fun is clearly the suction cups, right? So it's like now you're getting 2 for 1. But it's like even something like that is so, I mean, the fact that these robots can do something that your Spider-Man figure can't do, it just, to me, just adds an element of fun, you know, like that surprise fun, that mindless fun, which I feel as though that right now our action figures are just action figures. Like we're kind of moving so far away. And there's some of them aren't even action figures. It's just figures, right? It's like we're just moving so far away from toys, you know? And I mean, I don't know if it's because collectors, you know, are just so vocal and adamant, you know, about what they deem is cool. But the things that really got us into all this is the magic of the toy.
Well, think about it like this: the 90s Toy Biz line, you had Punisher with caps, Captain America shot his shield, Spider-Man with suction cups. We are the generation that grew up with that. So it's like, it's funny that now we don't want that. Like, you know, and it's like, no,
or even try to, like, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, we don't want that. My kids don't want that. But I'm like, I always call bullshit on that, you know, because when I talk to kids and when I see kids, they play the same way. It's just like the parents are training them not to want that stuff.
Yeah.
that is very, very true, because my kid, when he was younger, he'd gravitate towards more toyetic toys, sound effects, you know, the light up features, the action features. He's getting more into Marvel Legends now that he's almost 13, but you're totally right. And a lot of people want to say, well, it's the video games, it's the iPads. I think it's because toys are skewing towards collectors more.
Yeah, exactly, because they're skewing towards collectors more. They're not really giving the kids that kind of magic. So the kids are like, well, this is kind of boring. So I want to go to something that's going to captivate my attention. But I mean,
Lego.
Right. And then what happens? And I'm going to tell you, and this is how you train the kids to move away from that stuff. Because the moment the kid has all that stuff on the floor, they're playing, going crazy, parent comes in the room, steps on something, they start complaining about it. And that's a real thing. Because even though we can laugh at it because we know the history of it, of parents stepping on that, the kid doesn't. They have no reference to that. So what they do is they internalize that. Now it's like whenever I play with this, my parents going to have a bad reaction. So they're not going to play with it the same way anymore. And that's the kind of stuff that happens. It's like that goes into training the kid not to want to play with stuff anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, so now I see teachers in school who don't want to have the Legos out because it makes too much of a mess.
You know, when I was a kid, one of my favorite toys, right? It was tiny. Did you grow up with G.I. Joe, Dave? You did?
Yep.
Do you remember they did those motorized backpacks for G.I. Joe?
Yeah.
There was one where there was like a belly belt. The guy hung underneath and it climbed along a rope.
Yep.
So you would put a piece of string between your door handle and your bedpost. Man, tiny little wind-up toy. That was one of my favorite toys in childhood because it was toyetic.
Right. So you mean to tell me that a kid now wouldn't want that? I mean,
no, they'd love that.
They would love it. I mean, so what? There's video games in the house. So, you know, there's all kinds of stuff in the house. Always has been. But you know, we can really only focus on one thing at a time. Yep. That really hasn't changed.
Like the suction cups on this guy's feet. Look at that.
Yeah. So I mean, like with these, it was really about like, you know, the whole idea of it. Because at first the approach was really kind of, you know, staying true to how they originally was. Basically like RoboForce were like just like a desk weight, a paperweight back in the day with a suction cup on it. And it was like the quirkiness of that made it fun. Right. And also they had a look from back in the day that was like, you know, Robbie the Robot and stuff like that. Now, because, you know, we can play more with the human form, kind of add more of that video game kind of aesthetic, you know, kind of that cartoon anime look, but still have the fun. That's where the mutation, which ultimately led to the design language and the look of everything kind of went to, you know, and like really just imagine if the old RoboForce figure basically like just popped out, you know what I mean, transformed. Like that's what it would be. But it was also to let's just have fun with the aesthetic, you know what I mean? Like let's have fun with it. And everything is just now so ultra serious, so hyper real. Everything has to have 1,000,000 points of articulation, you know, and not have any fun parts of it too. Like, where's the slime? Where's the goo? Like you said, where's the retractable rope? You know what I'm saying? Where's the hook? Where's the Kung Fu grip? Like, where's all that stuff?
And that's our fault as collectors too. We're yelling at the companies demanding this stuff, and you know, maybe it's a little bit of a wake-up call.
But then on the other side, there's the internal part of that. I remember in 2015, I was working on Spider-Man animated line, and it was coming off the second Spider-Man movie with Andrew Garfield. So they always consider the animated year the down year. So I remember I came up with this line. It was called Web Slingers. I created Spider-Man figures. They had a pull, like a web kind of web, obviously made a stretchy web, and you attached it to them and they flung the webs, and like I had it so they flung it in different ways and they battled with these web projectiles, because that was what Spider-Man did. He shot webs. And I remember like the line was so awesome, but it didn't do well because it was an off movie year. And it was like, well, they were like, and I remember them telling me like, you kind of blew that really good idea on an off year, so you're not going to get another chance at that. And I remember saying like, you don't want to like follow this up on the next movie. Like they were like, nope, you got to come up with something totally different. I remember thinking like, that was an amazing idea. And it's like, because the entertainment didn't align. I suffered because I came up with a good idea on an off year. And then what did they go into? They went into 5 POA figures with a slug accessory with no play feature.
Yeah, that's what you're saying, man, is so sad. And it's like, why can't we have something? Why can't we let a cool idea incubate? Like, why can't it just foster? Let's let it grow.
Yep.
Everyone wants to have that lightning in the bottle. They want to follow the story of Kenner Star Wars, Mattel's Master Universe, the old Kenner G.I. Joe. They want to. Everybody wants to have that. Everyone wants to have that story with their line. And it's like, instead of, maybe this thing needs to slowly build and grow. Because really, that really is the Marvel way, right? Like if it hadn't been for the subtle growth of all these things, of these characters, of these comics, that is why they're big now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's almost the same way. It just, in my mind, in totality, Marvel has to be viewed and ran like a separate entity all of its own. Like, because it's a different, particularly when we're involved and before, and even now, it's just a different kind of animal. It's a different kind of beast now. Like, even though now is very much like entertainment driven, as you can kind of see, you can still have other forms of entertainment that can mimic that, and it may not work. It may not work at all.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or sometimes if it does work, it's because of, well, I want to see if it compares to Marvel. You know what I mean? So Marvel really has carved out its own kind of niche, but when it comes to the product, it really has to be kind of almost focused in a totally different way, handled in a totally different way, presented in a totally different way, particularly in where there's multiple brands, like a business like a Hasbro. It's not going to fit the same business model that all these other brands have. It's just not, but not allowing ideas like that the time to grow is also kind of difficult, because everyone's racing against the clock. But it's like, man, if you really let this mature, the kids will follow, they'll dig it. But we're forcing these kids not to want anything.
Yep.
Like there's a cause and effect to this. Like, it's not so much that these kids, their attention isn't being like kept and everything, or they're just so different. They're also being groomed to, not really latch on to things the way that we had the pleasure of allowing that to be. It's just mind-boggling. It's just really mind-boggling. And another thing that really gets me too is that the fact that I feel like one reason why that product kind of fails is because, and you know this, Bobby, whenever you're dealing with like the quote unquote kid product or that lower age, whatever, it has to look a certain way. Like almost like kids can't determine what looks cool or not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that, I feel as though, is what pisses off the collectors, because they feel like, why does it have to be such a difference in look? It's like, I loved Master Universe when I was a kid because they look so different and cool. And I actually love the fact that my uncles dug it too. And they didn't play with none of that stuff. But they were like, yo, this dude now. And they were like, yo, that's me right there. You know what I'm saying? That's me right there. I'm He-Man right there. I'm Skeletor. Because they loved how it aesthetically, how it looked.
Yeah.
And kids love that too. So why do we feel as though that just because it's a lower age leaning thing or kids leaning thing, that it has to have this almost like really dumbed down look, really young look, where I also too, again with Marvel, that was the reason why I fell in love with the characters at a very early age, because they never looked young to me. I could tell that the art was hand drawn. I couldn't understand or fathom the true concept of what it took to make or construct a comic book, but I knew that these dudes look cool, they look sophisticated, they look aspiring. Like, I can aspire to be that dude. I can aspire to be Silver Surfer or Namor or Thor. You know what I mean? They just look cool. They didn't look, and then what was Kitty looked cool too. But it didn't have that childlike look.
Yeah.
So I think that when we kind of force the characters to the product to kind of be that way, it's like almost like a disconnect. Like, why do we actually have to have? Why does the product have to be just? I hate to say it, but just dumbed down so much.
Yeah. Because now it just doesn't fall in line with anything, and the kid's going to see that. They're going to be like, "Why does this one look different?" You know,
right? It just doesn't look cool. I mean, because we said the same things. If when we were kids, you knew the difference between Hot Wheels and Matchbox.
Oh yeah, you did.
You knew it.
Yep.
You could tell the difference between a Matchbox car and a Hot Wheels car side by side. You just knew the difference.
Or Ken or Star Wars or G.I. Joe.
You knew
when G.I. Joes came out, it was like they move.
You knew the difference.
Yeah.
So why are we like fooling ourselves to try to pigeonhole kids into thinking that they don't? Like now, we were the same kids these kids are now, but we want to like fool ourselves into thinking that we have to group them into these little, things. That's why I always hated that kid collector argument. I always hated that because I was like, I was the kid. We were that kid.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I was on the Guardians animated series, it's like, all right, well, you're coming off Guardians the movie. So you expect kids to know Guardians the movie, but now Guardians animated is a very dumbed down, stylized animated version. So now I got to make these dumbed down, stylized animated figures that look nothing like the movie figures. So the kid's going to be like, wait a second, I know these characters from the movie, but you're telling me that now you want to change it for kid when you expect them to know them from the movie? It's just nothing.
It's just a very difference in just in the look of it, which ultimately affects the story element of the play. Right? It's like, man, now do we not only have the character that looks nothing like that, but now we can't even do the feature that makes it iconic or have that toyetic appeal or that fun thing, the magic. And that's basically what it's all about. Kids know the result of magic. And if they don't have that, then it's like you're going to have this bewildered look. Like, what is that? The surprise is, how did they do that? That's when you got them hooked.
All right. Well, Dave, I know you got to go soon. You can't stay for the whole show.
Yep.
But we got a lot of comments directed towards you in the that I've saved in the chat.
Oh no! Did I tick anybody off? I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. No.
I truly do. I'm sorry.
Before we get to those comments, I just want to ask you, since we're talking about it, if you have free reign to do the Marvel line however you wanted to do it, how would Dave Vonner do it? Scale, features, what would you do?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, and it like, I love the fact, the one thing I love about the Marvel universe, when you step back, I'm looking at my picture right now. I just love seeing everything. I just love seeing, the universe. So to me, what's more important than scale is really variety, man. Like, and that's the thing that I love about Marvel, but what also frustrates me about some of the Marvel product, when I see the same things happen like over and over again, or the same characters over and over again, like, because there's just so many, and there's so many eras, and there's so many different storylines or events, from Acts of Vengeance to, the Secret Wars or Secret War, you know what I mean? And I mean, like, it's just so many. You can just just go on and on and on about Marvel and how the characters not only look, but how they were used, in that. So that's my thing. I just love the variety of Marvel. And when you really get to see that variety, or some of those weird mixes, like, Icarus hanging out with the X-Men, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like cool. Like, man, I want to have that. I'm still waiting on the Icarus. Like, like, and that hurts my heart, because like, I love like Thor, Silver Surfer, Submariner. Is A1, AB, and AC for me. Like those are my 3 favorite guys. And then I love Black Bolt and Icarus. And it's like I had to wait forever for a Black Bolt, and I'm still waiting for my Icarus. You know, I mean, I love that version of the Eternals, you know, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, I want variety, man. I still want like the Shi'ar Guard, like I want all of them. You know what I'm saying?
That cosmic stuff we need, man.
Yeah, like I actually want to like play with it instead of like, you know, maybe like a very expensive Galactus or something. Give me something that opens up like a giant Baxter building or Avengers Tower that has some finger food in it, like the old Castle Grayskull. So now I'm like, now I have some other things that, like, I have this one giant thing that I have to populate now. Right? You know, so now I gotta, you know, fill this up with different products. So give me something that will lend itself to more of the lore of the Marvel Universe, because we're going to stand by it, and there's so many things with it that could be launched. When we did the Helicarrier, yo, man, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I thought we won. I mean, I thought the inmates won at that point. Like during that time, I kind of felt like the inmates were running the asylum. You know, because it was just a feat that just was, I mean, just for the simple fact that we go from no one knowing who S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the building to now we're actually doing the S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier. I felt like it was just a triumphant win for us, you know, like it was just, and I wanted so much more after that. And I mean, Bobby, you remember when I did the S.H.I.E.L.D. flying car, like Nick Fury's flying car?
Yeah.
Before the Helicarrier was even done. But I was like, man, now we can start doing stuff like this. We can do the Quinjet. We can do the Fantastic Car. We can start doing like all this other stuff that can lend itself to the other aspects of the Marvel Universe, but that never happened. You know what I mean? It's like I kind of want to have that stuff, man. Like
the whole world.
Right, because if you think about it, the Marvel Collector, and to me, Star Wars does this very well. The Star Wars Collector has been around for a long time. They collected so many figures. So when you have other aspects that they can collect, it just fits right into that fold. So if they have the vehicles, all your figures can fold right into that. It's a rhyme and a reason now, because if you have this vehicle, now you can have these figures and maybe even more, right? So it's like, why not do the same thing with Marvel? You know, there was so many landscapes, dioramas to play with, vehicles to play with, just so much. And it's like, that's the thing that frustrates me, is like, there could be so much more variety, and that variety just isn't there at times. So that's what gets me more than anything, more so than scale, you know, or articulation, all that. I just want the characters. I mean, give me the Marvel Universe. We had Marvel Country, we had Marvel Land, we had Marvel Country. Now we got Marvel World, but I want more. I want more, man. Because I mean, look behind you.
Yeah.
Guys, you should have seen when I took over Marvel Universe. I remember my engineer came to me and he had a handful of boxes, and he said, "Here, these are all the figures Dave had sculpted up that he never got to." And I was like, "What?" So it was like my first 2 waves of Marvel Universe were just ideas that Dave hadn't gotten out yet. And it's like, you know, I'm like, well, this is easy. All right.
I mean, now personally, with that, and why I like 3 3/4 inch, because we can do so much so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you could really like spawn so much. You know, I mean, you can just go nuts, which is why I love that. And it's also too because I can you can really play with the scales more.
Yeah,
you know,
you can do things like the Frost Giant 2-pack with a figure in the Frost Giant, or you know, the Dark One.
Right.
Yeah.
And that lends itself to stuff that no one was thinking.
Yep.
But we're still getting those characters in there. You know what I mean? Like, how else are we going to do, you know, Bill Foster Goliath?
Sure.
You know, like let's tie it into other aspects. I mean, how else are we going to get these characters? I mean, and it's funny too, man, and it really lends itself to this argument because now Marvel has always been diverse. It may not have been as diverse as everyone wanted to, but it's always showed not only the diversity of the characters, but the inclusion of the characters as well. Like it was nothing new for us to know that the Avengers had a Black female leader, right? It was nothing new for us to know that the X-Men had gay characters there. It was nothing new for us to actually understand the importance of someone like Aunt May. No, so I mean, really, like the aspects of our elders has always kind of been built into the lore of Marvel, right? So it's like now that we have so much emphasis on inclusion and diversity, to me, like Marvel has always led the pack for that.
Oh yeah,
always led the pack for that. And even with that, I felt as though that the product kind of stepped back from a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like we could have been on the forefront of that before all of that. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's you know, and it's no, and for me, the reason why I'm saying is I feel as though it's no fault to the people who work on the Marvel brand. I just feel as though that the Marvel brand is just so vastly different in the house where so many other brands live.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All
you know,
right.
we just always felt like the different. We just always felt like the different kid in the room. I mean, Bobby, am I lying? Like we always just felt like the odd kid in the room.
Yeah.
Bobby's always felt left behind, so
a little bit.
but I think I think because of that obstacle, which is the reason why Marvel and whoever works on it can dig deep and come up with cool stuff.
Sure.
Because you have so much against you, you know, whether you don't have the money to do it, you don't have, you know, the budget is always the thing, or you don't have the line, the item count. Your team may change on you. Lord knows how much of an effect, and the fans don't even know that. The fans have no idea how much the changing of a team really affected the line so much.
How many items have you worked on halfway and then got transferred to a different team? Then someone else finished up your item.
Man, it just messes everything up. Everything up. It messes up. I mean, everything changes.
When I went on to G.I. Joe, I begged them. I said, please let me finish my Marvel items. Please. And they let me. They were like, all right, you could do it. Because I was like, I was in love with those Marvel items, and I didn't want someone else changing, you know, Tony, what I was doing, you know.
But you know, it's that, you know, and it's also weird too. I mean, it's to be on any form of a Marvel team, you're part of the gatekeeper lore now, right? It's like, man, like you're a gatekeeper of all this stuff. And I mean, just for me, it was a really delicate balance between the personal and the business, right? Like personally, I would want things to be different, but I also know that Marvel is a lot of things to a lot of different people, you know, and then that's when you gotta like, and that was one of the things I did with Marvel Universe, where I think it was kind of a success because we always kind of pulled everyone involved to make the line. Like, who do you want in the line? Who do you want in line? And I would ask anybody, like even the dude like delivering packages, like who you want to see in the line? You know what I mean? Like I would ask anybody that loved Marvel and they knew the characters, yo, let's talk about it. You know, but then that's also too, man, like, Dad, I'm kind of weighing everything, and everybody wants this guy, and I don't really want that guy. You know what I mean? So it's like you swallow the bullet. Or you pull the trigger and be like, yo, I'm gonna go with this instead, you know, and you know, so it's a delicate mix with that too, you know. It's like, how do you really construct the perfect wave. You know, the perfect, most cost-effective wave.
Yep.
It's a delicate mix because you're never going to win. You're never going to win.
That's a fact.
But I mean, but Bobby, man, I mean, you did your best, man, and you did a hell of a job on that line. I mean, you made your mark. You made your mark. So, I mean, kudos to you. You know,
listen,
it's a Herculean task working on the brand like Marvel.
I was nervous. They were like, "You're taking over Marvel Universe," and I'm like, "I gotta fill those shoes." It's like, fuck, man, I was nervous, you know. And then it's like, okay, well, you left me with such a good setup. You're like, you were hitting your stride with the new bodies and stuff, so it was easy those first 2 waves. Then they were like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna raise the price and we're gonna cut the cost, so you're gonna have to take out a bunch of articulation and get rid of the accessories." And I'm like, everyone's gonna be so mad at me.
Right. And then how can you even fight that? Like, how can you it's like, it's almost like now I'm a martyr. Like, I gotta take the heat from that. And and now that you have those parameters, there's nothing you can do to change that. You want to do, and you have done the best that you can do with that. Right. And it's like, so you want to be able, for the fans to be able to see the almost like the genius in what it is you were doing, because you was left with so little.
Mm-hmm.
On top of still going against Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
You know, and it is so like it's something that is just, you know, and then now you got to fight the movie stuff. Right? So it's like it's so many layers that you really had to combat just within the own brand.
Yeah.
You know, and of course everyone wants to support Marvel Legends. Like, everyone no one who works on Marvel wants to disrupt Marvel Legends. Like, that right there. If anyone ever had the notion that people just want to get rid of Marvel Legends, like the design, like, that is absolutely not true. Everyone wants to support it, but it's like, how do you keep it going? You know, and that's where it gets tricky. You know, so but everyone always wanted to support it, and Jesse's been fighting that fight for a long time.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Like, working on Toy Biz Legends from the start, and now like still kind of overseeing it today. Pretty nuts.
You know, I mean, it's a lot. Like, kudos to him. You know, and it's a lot that he has to, you know, give and take. You know, had to go with the flow and all that, but it really is a testament of not only him and, you know, people like yourself, but like the fans too. I mean, it really is an organic, I mean, in the truest form, it is the most organic line I can really think of. I mean, like, no one has ever really had the type of drama that line kind of has. Like, other lines kind of have the drama, either to get it going, you know, or the drama comes when it ended. But Marvel Legends, I mean, man, it's a story. Marvel Legends is a Marvel story in and of itself.
I can't wait to see that documentary, the history of Marvel Legends.
I mean, forget that.
Probably by the Nacelle Company.
I mean, it would have to be a movie. You know, I mean, to really show how entertaining, just how deep it could be. I mean, the documentary, it would have to be a movie with, all right, this is also the real thing that came with it. Almost like the Lakers show, like, you know, like, you have to have the series behind it, then the documentary that goes along with it, because it really is, you know, it's a lot. Multiple people have so many things that they've carried along to carry the torch, and it's really transformed and morphed so much to stay contemporary, you know. And I mean, I know from just fans who have gone, like, who have lived and died within this line. I'm talking about the fans. Like, I know guys who have lived and died collecting this line. I know guys who, Eddie Wires, man, he, rest in peace, will always be remembered as, you know, one of the original painters of Marvel Legends. You know, and with the legacy of Eddie Wires, and then how that legacy has changed and morphed, you know what I mean? Like, with his brother carrying the torch, and just seeing all of that, how Marvel Legends has sustained just kept on going along.
Were you there from the beginning at Toy Biz? The beginning of the line?
From the beginning, like from the beginning, when Jesse first got, sculpts in.
Wow, cool.
When it had no name.
No name.
So if it's a movie, who plays Dave Vonner in the movie?
Oh shit! I hope it's be me.
Listen, man, I know you're tight with the Toys That Made Us people. If they ever want to do a Marvel Legends episode, you make sure they give me a call, even though I was only on it for a small amount of time. I'll still come and do it.
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, the thing with Marvel Legends is it's such a you cannot talk about. It's almost like Todd McFarlane. Like you cannot talk about the reemergence or the resurgence of the action figure without mentioning Todd McFarlane.
Yep.
Sure.
But people give him so much crap nowadays because how he's still stuck in his ways a little bit, but that man deserves all the credit.
I mean, he is he's the mark in the timeline. I mean, how everyone can talk about the Star Wars, how that jump started everything, and then Master Universe, Transformers, and all that. I mean, Todd McFarlane just bam did it. And with Marvel Legends, by it coming out of that, it really made its mark in a totally unique way, where it didn't necessarily follow behind Todd McFarlane's, it kind of created its own wake. It created its own thing, its own seismic shift, that is still kind of going along. So it's either now you see toys that are very, very McFarlane or very, very Marvel Legends. It's almost like the Matrix, right? Like that movie left this mark so much that so many other movies were elements of the Matrix. Like it lasted for so long. You can still see. And it's almost like the same thing with Marvel Legends, man. It really, really just made its mark where it just created such a unique seismic impact that it's just uniquely its own thing.
I'm so glad you brought up Todd McFarlane because he's actually our next guest on our next
show.
Really?
That's
no, he's not. I made that up.
Oh,
sorry. No,
we'd love to have him on.
I would love to talk to Todd McFarlane. Go ahead.
I mean, just to say, that guy, like you were saying, everyone gives Todd, flack and all that, but I mean, man, really, I can't thank the dude enough, for what he did for this industry by not only having the vision for that, but having the vision to surround himself with the sculptors, the painters, the creators who were, could execute that vision. The Randy Falks of the world, you know what I'm saying? And, the Phil Ramirez's and all those guys, the Dave Cortez's and all them, those guys and so many more, the Four Horsemen, all those dudes, actually giving those creators the space and the lane to create and execute his vision. And in doing so, I mean, it just opened up so much in them, so you get to see what they did out of all of that. I mean, it's just, and that's the thing I love about Marvel Legends is just being a part of that whole, just witnessing all of that stuff, witnessing just all of that. It's just amazing.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll put a little pin in it there. We'd love to have you back because this has been awesome. But there's people in the chat that I've got to read their comments. The first one from Retro Blasting, and don't worry, Super Chatters, I'm going to get to all of you. Retro Blasting says, Dave Vonner, a wonderful guest who was gracious enough to come on Retro Blasting a year or so ago and discuss action figure history. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you. Cool. Retro Blasting, I love you.
A lot of the stuff I started is gone now.
Oh no.
Yeah. Huh.
Was it any random stuff?
It was just people that big fans of you and they could listen to you talk all day.
Here, so
yeah,
we've got Andrew here says Dave Vonner on once a month.
There it is.
I don't know. That may not be a good thing.
What are you talking about, man?
I'll be the monthly headache at that point.
We've got my friend Keith Knight here. He says, "What a top guy Dave is. Really great to hear him talk."
Thank you. Thank you. I just love talking about toys. You know, I'm passionate about it. I always have been. You know, and it's just a fun thing to discuss. You know, I just love it.
Yeah. Not Top Goon. Go ahead, Tony.
Well, you go, Ron.
Not Top Goon. He says, "Hey, you just joined. Awesome meeting you, Mr. Dave."
Hey, man. Thank you. Nice meeting you too.
Hollow Knight 1 says, "Thanks, Dave, for the Marvel Universe X-23 buck. I love that female buck."
Yo, I'm glad you do, because man, there was a lot of kind of foresight that went into clearly building the buck. You know, you want to get a lot of mileage out of it. So cool. I'm cool. That's very good. And also too, at that time too, we were really cool with the creators of X-23, and man, it was just a really cool period to kind of be around and to bring their character into the toy world and stuff. So it was really dope.
Right on. Marcelo's in the chat. He says he's drawing big robots and listening to these great.
Oh man, Marcelo, that's my brother, man. Yep. Listen. This dude, is a Transformers icon. I mean, this guy is the master. He's the master of Transformers art, the master of robot art. He's just a master, and he's a really cool guy, and I mean, his artwork is just phenomenal, and it's funny too, man, because it's like anything that he touches, man, it just has this beautiful anime look to it. He's awesome. I love you, man. He's a really cool dude. He's my brother.
He has a question for you. How early do you usually get information to create a toy from a movie?
Oh man. Well, see, that it really depends. It really depends on the development of the movie and really the comfort of how far the studio wants us to be involved with that information. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes they're real gracious with the information, sometimes they're not. and with that, that really determines on your timeline. It depends on a lot of factors. It's like designing in the dark, as Bobby knows. Like, that also too can be very frustrating. Like actually, having an important character in the film that you have to, design around, but you're not privy to what the character looks like, yeah. or what the character does. Mm-hmm. Or says or whatever, it can have its level of frustration. But also too, man, that's one reason why in the toy industry, man, the toy world, why we work the way we work. Like a lot of us don't sleep. A lot of us have to work a lot of hours because of stuff like that. Because you got to really be on that information train as quickly and as thoroughly as you possibly can. So because of a situation like that, with a movie, you may not have a lot of time or a lot of information that's going on with that. The moment it comes in, you got to run with it. Yeah. And you got to have everything at the ready. Everybody got to be ready to do their part, and it takes a team to be able to make that happen.
All right. Yeah. One more comment from Chalor. You mentioned Doom and Vader and the connection. He says, wonder if it's a real thing. Because definitely seems likely. I've always thought that to get Doom right in a movie, they bring Doom to the MCU, you do him like Vader. That's the template.
Yeah, or hey, if you want Darth Vader to be cool, you make him like Dr. Doom.
There you go. Yeah.
But it was no. One of the things many of the things that George Lucas was inspired by was Marvel Comics and also Japanese culture, so, and Dr. Doom, Darth Vader is definitely an amalgamation of a samurai and of course Dr. Doom to have that presence, that power.
Yep. Cool. All right. That was the last one I wanted to get to. I know you got to go. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. This is awesome. I mean, this I love talking toys, love talking, hanging out with you guys. Bobby, I want to say James Howard said, "What's up?" He loved you.
Man.
You are the pride and joy of his student that is doing his thing, man.
I tried to do him right. I tried to do him right.
Asks about you all the time.
Does he really? Man, yes. I love him. We're talking about a teacher that I had in community college who has done a lot for, the African-American designer community. But he was like, let me tell you something. He helped me get through, my associate's degree courses, but also he probably wasn't allowed to do this. But I could say, because he's not there anymore. He let me leave a semester at college to go do a Hasbro internship. And he said, you can't miss it. Because I told him, I said, listen, I got this opportunity, but I would have to leave and then I'd have to come back and it would screw up things with going to FIT. He goes, you're going to go do that internship because you can't pass it up. And he said, don't worry, we'll cover for you. And it was like, he let me go. And I was there for 4 months. And then I came back to like my semester and all of a sudden I show up in class and people are like, who's this asshole just showing up? And like, he's like the favorite kid over here, and it's like I went and did this Hasbro internship, but I owe everything to him because if he didn't let me go do that first internship, I probably wouldn't have gotten the second internship. And then the second internship got me in the door. So it was like,
Yep.
He's one of the guys I owe.
Like sometimes, man, it's like all you need is the shot. You already had the drive, You just give them the shot, and sometimes the validation. You know what I'm saying? The same thing that happened with you happened to me with Digger. Digger from Art Asylum. When he started Art Asylum, it was like just by him giving me the validation, like, yo, man, you can do this. I felt like, damn, I really can. And it stays with you, man. It stays with you forever. So yeah, James talks about you a lot, man.
That's awesome.
And we got some major stuff planned, and I would love the role. Because we talk to schools all the time. So it'd be dope.
Awesome.
And that's my mission. And that's my mission, man, to really like kind of really not only bridge like the entertainment part of toys, but also the education part. Because we know one of the things, it always bothers me now that kids aren't, where they are right now. So I feel as though like designs of toys and just the whole toy world, designing of that stuff could be a way to reach out to kids for them to latch on, give them something of a different interest. And maybe that could be the way that can kind of turn them around, just like how it did for us.
Yep. I agree. I love doing stuff with the schools, man. I go back to my old schools all the time just to talk to them and just help them out, give them options, You got it,
man. I mean, just having a toy, I mean, it just so much. It just like talking about it, having it, being shown that there's a way to that. It just does a lot for anybody. You know what I mean? So I gave a couple figures to some a dad that was out there on the street with his two boys who seemed like they were a little homeless or in the house, whatever. They were out there for a long time, and and gave them a couple figures, a couple dollars. Man, the kids was just like, yo, they felt like it was like their birthday. And that was just so cool, man, just to give them give the kids something where they could not be stressed out for a couple hours.
Yeah,
sure. You know what I mean? Like they can have something to focus their attention to, their imagination to, and not have to deal with the real weight of the real world. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's always the fun part about toys. That's why I love it.
Right on. All right, Dave, again, thank you so much. Real quick, we just got a super chat. Scott Hughes, thank you. He wants to know if there's any toy line you can make without limitation of license, what would it be?
You know what it would be? Without limitation of license?
Without any limitation of license.
Oh, man, that would be easy. Yo, Marvel DC crossover.
The Amalgam Universe.
Yo, I mean, I would do I would do it all. Justice League Avengers, X-Men Teen Titans, the amalgamation, all that stuff, man. Like, I mean, I would do Superman throwing like Mjolnir, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Batman throwing some Daredevil Billy clubs.
Dark
Like I would
Claw.
do all kinds, all that stuff, man. Like and really do the Teen Titans, but really make it like the Teen Titans, where you have like Marvel teams and DC teams together, and then throw them out throughout time. Like imagine if Johnny Storm back in the day was part of Teen Titans.
Yeah, that'd be
like
cool.
A real cocky young Johnny Storm.
Yep.
You know, that would be so cool.
Yeah, we are starved for a good DC line, man.
Oh man, so you know, I you know, there are some rumors or talks about that's been proposed. That would be the one thing I would love to see, a Marvel DC mashup. Anything.
Yeah, I'm there with you,
man. That's what I would love.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, man. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you. You guys,
you want to plug anything before you're out?
RoboForce, man, is dropping soon, man. It's on the water right now, coming to you from the Cell Toys. We about to drop it. It's gonna be super dope. You're getting 2 section cups in one, and that's Max 89 right there. We got Max and Record. They're coming through, and it's gonna be fun, like a fun addition to your collection, you know, and something to add, something to play with, another story element to add into your world, and it's just fun. It was super fun making them, and I hope you guys have fun playing with them. Super dope.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dave. And I'm going to plug your Instagram for you. Link in the description below. If you want to feel inadequate about your fitness, follow Instagram.
Man, I asked Dave once, I said, how many push-ups you doing? I remember he told me his sets. And I was like, shit. I tried for like 3 days to do what he did. And I was like, I don't know how he does it.
You can do it. You can do it. Look, man, you can get it.
See, I knew he was going to do it. I was waiting for the 8-pack to come out there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, man.
Man. Peace.
Right.
Peace.
See ya.
Awesome guest, man.
Woo.
Bob,
Man.
That was a great suggestion, dude. Great.
Dude, he's awesome. Listen, and it's like when he was like, "Oh, I only got 45 minutes." I'm like, "Shit, that's gonna be a fast 45 minutes." And it's like he's almost on for 2 hours, but it's like I could go for another 2 hours.
Oh,
I'm probably gonna call him on Monday, and we're gonna talk for 2 hours.
See, there it is. Now look, we got a ton of super chats here, a ton of comments.
Can we do our anniversary shot? Because then I need to make another drink, and then we'll go through super chats. And guys, we're gonna go a little late tonight, just because
we're gonna go a little late. I got tequila.
Yeah,
I got tequila.
I got tequila also.
Tony has some Earl Grey.
A little bit of really cold tea.
All right, I'm gonna shoot your tea. What is this? Camarina. I'm not gonna try to say it with the correct pronunciation because I'll screw it up.
Roll those R's.
It's Reposado, Hencho in
What is that?
Hencho in Mexico. All right, and just like my shot glass here says, cheers.
Happy anniversary, fellas.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, that's cold tea.
Woo! It's like fire.
That's actually pretty good.
You guys chat. I'm gonna go make a drink.
All right, let's get to some super chats. Ted Darklaw. I feel like we were just talking about Darklaw. He says, happy anniversary. Good luck tonight. Thanks so much, Ted.
Thank you.
We got a Dillinghamism, but this time we got a message with it. Thank you, Brian. He says, killing goblins and we'll catch replay. Congrats. Killing goblins. What is that? Like a video game, maybe? Tony? Well, have fun killing goblins.
Just goblins where Brian Dillingham lives, and
yeah,
he's got an infestation.
All right. Tony Robles, our good buddy Tony. Thank you so much, Tony. He says, happy anniversary, 3POA. Got to handle the WW Sergeant Slammer, and damn, is it an experience having that in the collection, along with much love to David.
The WW Sergeant Slammer?
I think WWE. Or no, that can't be it. It wouldn't be Slammer in WWE.
No, it wouldn't be Slammer.
I think maybe it was Valaverse. He meant to put 2 V's.
I don't know.
Valaverse Sergeant Slammer. Maybe if he's still here, he can work that out for us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony. Either way, thank you so much for the super chat. Our good buddy M Vargo 97, thank you so much. He says 3 POA anniversary on my birthday weekend. Congrats, guys. Look forward to years to come. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you.
Very much.
Happy birthday.
And then we got one from Skyfall. Thank you so much, man. Skyfall's in Canada. Look at that. Canadian dollars. He says, Bobby, happy anniversary, guys. Thanks, Skyfall. And then we got one from Little. Yes.
That Tony Robles comment before, that's the Wounded Warehouse Sergeant Slammer.
Wounded Warehouse. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you so much, Tony. You want to keep starring the ones that are coming in as I read?
Yep. No problem.
All right. Little Plastic Men. Thanks, man. Stopping by to give some love and cash. Much appreciated. Spent all day at RetroCon and got to meet my favorite actor from Star Wars, Anthony Daniels. He was great. I've heard he's kind of a douche in person.
I heard he's a douche too.
That's what I've heard. But if he was great, that's awesome.
I heard he used to be a dick to Kenny Baker all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard Kenny Baker was kind of a pain in the ass because he was at ass height. The only Star Wars actor I've ever met from the original trilogy was Peter Mayhew, and he was super nice guy. Thank you.
I met David Prowse and Jeremy Bullock. They were cool.
Right on. Thank you, Little Plastic Men. Derek Dalzell, thank you so much. He says, love you guys. I'll have to catch the replay, though. Well, thank you so much. Whether you watch it live or watch a replay, much appreciated. And then Marcelo Materi, he says, hey, brother, great to see you with all these guys. Respect. I think that was meant for Vonner, and I missed it. But thank you, Marcelo. And then we got one, from our good buddy Drew G. Thank you, Drew. He says, just want to say it's been an honor getting to know you guys over the last few years and watching each of your channels and businesses grow. Lifting a bottle for many more years to come. Congrats on 1 year. Thanks, Drew.
Oh, and Drew, yes, it was the Web Warriors line. I did see your comment earlier.
Oh, okay.
The Spider-Man line I worked on.
And Drew started a YouTube channel recently, and he has I think he's at volume 4 of his collection tour because his collection is unreal.
Damn.
So if you guys are watching this, you're not subscribed to Drew G, go check it out. Awesome collection. Thank you, Drew. And gonna try to make me all emotional. That's my boy Gavin. Gavin's Travels. He says, hey, Laser Kid here. Happy 3 POA anniversary. That's clever, buddy. To the best dad in the world and the best podcast in the world. Other hosts are okay too, I guess.
Gavin,
my boy.
I am sorry for all the cursing. I will try to do better. Now that I know you're listening, I will try to do better.
Mom said I had to say something nice about everyone on the show. Thanks, buddy. You get double allowance for that. All right. Disavowed Action Figures. Congrats and happy anniversary, fellas. Thank you so much, Disavowed. He is the new co-host on Infinity Equation. So check that out. Thank you, Tim. And say what's up to Dante for me. White Vegeta, thank you. Why do you think they break up product into smaller waves versus a wave a year? Example, G.I. Joe 84, I feel like it doesn't have time to percolate. That's for you, Bobby. I have no clue how to answer that.
You're muted.
You're muted, man.
Oh. I was eating a Kit Kat, so I put myself on mute.
You stuffing your face with that leftover Halloween candy?
Yeah, 100%. So the way you do it is it's based on shelf resets. Beginning of the year, you want to come out with all your product. Big shelf reset, January, February. So it's like the waves of the year. It's like when I was on Marvel Universe, it was like you had 5, 5, 4, 3 for your waves.
Mm-hmm.
Just because at the end of the year, you got to remember, like throughout the year, you might have product just sitting around and sitting around and sitting around. So it's like, you don't want to have a wave of 6 figures come out at the end of the year, because then it's like, you gotta, what if there's no room for that? So you wait it that way. Legends, it's a little hard because of the Build-A-Figure. So you normally have 6 to 7 figures every wave. And then they just clearance things out like Eternals or Shang-Chi. But like, it's different now. Like, I've been able to see the evolution. Like Dave talked about item count. Well, it's like, now that Toys R Us is gone and Target and Walmart, and there's so many online sales and Pulse exclusives, item count isn't really, it's still around and it's still a thing, but it's not as tight as it was when we were there. So I got to see it like tight. And then it's like, you see it evolve now, and so it's all over the place.
All right. And Analog Toys is reminding us, don't forget, guys, don't leave. We got
we're giving away some shit.
We got a really cool giveaway. There's like 5 prizes. Five prizes. Yesterland Toys. Thank you, Neil. He says, hey, everyone, just because. Appreciate you, buddy. And also a good channel there, Yesterland Toys. Matt Talon, thank you. Just wanted to say hi and give you some money. I'm late to the party and we'll have to catch the replay. Hey, that's totally cool, man. We appreciate you watching the replay. Ultra Magnetic Lion. Cool name. Thank you for the super chat. I was there day 1 with the first Spawn wave. I knew the game changed back then. Same feeling with Marvel figures in the 2000s. Glad for Vana and Vala. That. He's putting you.
Did I ever tell my McFarlane story about when he yelled at me when I was a little kid?
On Infinity Equation you did, but it bears repeating.
Got it.
Go for it.
If we have time. I don't want to take up too much time. So, when McFarlane first came out with those figures, sorry, I'm chewing. I'm an asshole. I'm trying to remember what year was that. 94, 95? When McFarlane came out with his first series of figures. His office was in New Jersey. It was before he had the Arizona office. And he rented space from my stepmom's father, my step-grandfather. And, I was, what was I? 11 or 12 years old at the time.
A little shit.
A little shit. I was told a little shit. But it's like, I was a huge comic book fan. I had Spawn #1. And he, like, my grandfather, he told him like, oh, my grandson, he wants to draw comic books and this and that. So they gave him a bunch of free products. So I had like the Spawn mobile. I had the whole wave of figures because, they rented the space. So he brought me there one day, and I was there with one of the guys that kind of runs the joint. I don't remember who it was at the time. My grandfather wasn't there. He was showing me around the place and stuff like that. I just saw Spawn figures. Everyone was cool. And I had a folder, like a tan open folder with a bunch of my drawings in it. And they were real shit. But, I was 12 years old at the time. So maybe they were good for a 12-year-old. I don't know. But Todd was there. And I remember he was probably 30 yards away from me. And I saw him and I was like, like a celebrity, like I was starstruck. And the guy was like, oh, Todd's here. We can go say hi to him. And he walks me over and Todd kind of leaves the conversation he was at and walking towards us. And he's like, oh, hey, Todd, this is Dan's grandson. He's got some really great drawings you should check out. And I remember he looked down at me and he goes, I don't have time for this shit. And just walked away. And I was okay. And then I remember the guy was like, oh, he didn't mean that. He's just really busy. Like, just totally tried to change the subject. Oh, come look at this over here. But I just remember that, that stuck with me, as a kid,
dude, that's
crushing. So that it was once I started to get older and I started growing like this animosity. I hated Todd McFarlane. Hated him. Like absolutely hated him. Hated him all through like comic book art school. Hated him forever. Like forever. Like Alex, we went to art school together. Alex, because I told that story there, Alex would like always like rib me about McFarlane, you know, because it was like they knew I hated him so much. And then there was a documentary that came out. It came out like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, but recently. And it was all about Todd and leaving Image or doing Image, but then starting the toy company. And I remember watching it, and I remember like hearing him, but I watched it with disdain. I sat there with like a sourpuss on my face. But at the end of this documentary, I was like, huh. And you know what I did? I immediately put it on again and watched it again. 2 sittings, like back to back. I watched it again, and it was almost like all that disdain I had for him was gone. Absolutely gone. And I not only was it gone, but I had such admiration for him and what he had done. And now having my own company and building it and understanding it and knowing what it takes. And like what Vonner was saying, like what he did, what he built, he was an innovator in the toy industry. I just like, it was all gone. And all of a sudden I was like the world's biggest Todd McFarlane fan within an hour. So, you know, it's like,
and now you're a douche to kids too.
And well, I mean, I would never say that to a kid's. That's where we differ. But was he right for doing it? No. Do I forgive him? Yes. He probably doesn't even remember that it happened. I would love for one day to meet Todd and tell him that story. Like I would love it. Now,
well, if we ever get him on the 3POA, right as the show starts and he gets introduced, you should just turn around and go, I ain't got time for this shit, and turn your camera off.
Right, that would be amazing.
I do have one question, Bobby. I do have one question, because to understand whether this was possibly justified by Todd, at that time, did you have a rat's tail?
That's what it was.
No, that was post Rat's Tail.
Oh, then it wasn't justified.
But it wouldn't matter because you only saw me from the front. You didn't see me from behind, so it didn't matter.
You can sense a rat tail.
I didn't have one then. I didn't have one. I think I was 8 the last time I had a rat tail. But I mean, listen, I would love for like this story to get to Todd. I wish there was a way I can like talk to him and like talk to him about it, because listen, I have so much respect for him now. Like again, like having a toy company and stuff. And listen, I know that he said some shit during the Shardamus interview, got him in some hot water. I know that there are things about his toys that I don't like, that I would never do. But what he has done is something that can't be taken away. And it's amazing how looking at someone's journey could totally change my perception of them. And you guys know, when I don't like somebody, it's like I don't like you for life. You don't. Todd might be the only person that has ever gotten out of that closet. When you cross me, when you do something wrong to me, when you are not loyal to me, I listen, I'm nice to everyone initially. You don't give me that same respect or whatever, or you do something, you're there. My wife says all the time, she goes, wow, you hold a grudge. I'm like, I will hold a grudge for life. For life.
Oh, your haters are going to latch onto this one, man.
Listen, bro, they're there forever. And I'm there forever for them. So it doesn't matter. I could do nothing. Listen, I could tell you right now, I could apologize to every hater. I could give them free product. I could probably pay them and they will still hate me. So it doesn't fucking matter. So they're going to stay in the closet just like I'm in their fucking closet. So the feeling is mutual.
All right.
But, you know, but yeah, like Todd, I hope you hear the story. I want to get together. Let's have a beer. Let's talk about it. No animosity. You're awesome.
Preferably on the 3POA podcast, Todd.
Preferably on the 3POA podcast.
Or in person.
Sorry, big segue there. Let's go back to some chats.
We got another. We got some more super chats, so let's just get to them. Renato, thank you so much at Toynado on Twitter. He says, "Happy anniversary, gents! Love you guys, and I am here for these podcasts. Keep it going strong." And Renato, thank you for that super chat, and not only that, but thank you for always sharing the link on Twitter, man. That is a huge help to the channel. Those social media link shares are better than clicking the like button for sure. Thank you so much. Mike LeMay. Bobby,
hey,
this
Mike.
is your friend. Thanks, man. He says, 1 year of you bozos. I can't believe I don't have better things to do every other Saturday. Congrats, gents. Thanks, Mike.
Come on,
Remember,
Mike. You love it. We know you love it.
You love it.
Mike, just don't forget when you pack my box.
Tony, did you meet
Mike? A couple extra.
Tony, did you meet Mike when he was here? You did?
Yeah, like he's sitting here going, I can't believe I've got nothing else to do. That bro was starstruck as fuck when he met me.
That's awesome.
All right.
Mike's
Jerkmonger.
great.
Thank you, Jerkmonger. He says, congrats to you guys. Here's to many more. Much appreciated, buddy. We got, Keith Knight. Keith Knight. Great show, guys. Congrats on the anniversary. Love you, my friends. Raising a toast. Cheers. Cheers, mate. Thanks, Keith. Nothing from you, Tony. That's your good friend. You say nothing to Keith?
I was miles away.
John Papa Sergio, what's up, man? He says, wanted to ask both Dave and Bobby, working on Legends, were the amalgam characters off the table?
100%. You couldn't mention DC. Are you crazy?
Yeah,
listen, you couldn't even mention some Marvel characters. You're going to mention amalgam characters? Get the fuck out of here.
I know that.
Gavin, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just going to curse, man. This is where you're going to get your education from. I'm sorry.
Is he chastising you for using foul language? Is that what it is?
He was earlier in the chat, yeah.
Okay.
Comes with the territory, man.
I know that Dave, I think it was on Infinity Equation when we had him on. He said that he tried to get something going with the Mattel and Hasbro crossover with Legends and DC. And of course, it didn't pan out.
Yeah, you never.
But that would have been so cool, man.
It would have been awesome.
Thank you, John. And then we got one from Hella Dope Toys, which is one of tonight's sponsors, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to you, Hella Dope Toys, and I'm going to plug the hell out of your website in a little bit. But thank you for the super chat. He says, I finally get to meet Bobby himself. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Hella Dope Toys became a wholesale account with us, so they're another one that is gracious enough to supply our products to you guys. So thank you to them for being interested in carrying Action Force and supporting us. So thank you.
Awesome.
Go to their website, buy some Action Force products, but
Absolutely.
also from Valverse.com.
Thank you, Hella Dope Toys. We got one from Roll Keeper. Thank you. Would you say it to an adult?
100%.
Okay. I think he's talking about what Todd said to you as a kid. Yeah. Thank you, Roll.
I mean, I say it to Ron.
I don't think it's a case of would you. I'm sure you have before.
Yeah.
Put it this way. You guys know Jordan, who is my shipping manager when we get big shipments in. I probably say it to him 6 times a day when he's here. So, yeah.
Michael Hinkson, thank you so much. He says, happy anniversary to you guys from a cold and cloudy Reno. Great to see Dave, and thanks for a fun first year. Congrats. Looking to more fun from you all. Thank you, Michael.
Oh, I wish I was in Reno right now. I could gamble. I could shoot guns. Man, Nevada is my state. Shit.
Right on. Look at that. Another show sponsor, Earl Potts. Thank you so much, man. He says, happy anniversary / 2,000 subs. Indeed, we are at 2,000, almost 300, I think now. Just got up from a much needed nap, long weekend. Yeah, you went to Legion's Con, right? I think, yeah, right on. Thank you, Earl. And then
can I do some self-service right now and say that Valverse hit 10,000 followers on Instagram?
Yeah,
Woo!
man. Yeah. Congrats.
I meant to do a post and I just forgot. I was doing yard work today.
Priorities.
Priorities. Adult shit.
And then Scott X 1307. Thank you. Congrats on 1 year, guys. 1 year, guys. One of the best shows on YouTube. I agree. Bobby, how about a team up with Toddy Mac? That'd be awesome.
My phone. Listen, anytime he wants to get in touch with me, anytime. Like, I mean, I don't know what we would do, but you know. So I don't think this is kind of one of those things that you want to talk about. Do I want to say it?
Put it in the private chat. Put it in the private chat.
Put it this way. Okay. I will say that Todd and I are closely tied more than he knows. So it might be good for us to chat. Yeah.
You both hooked up with the same chick back in 2000. No, I'm kidding. All right.
He's like 10 years older than me.
Hey, it's Todd. Okay. It's Toddy Mac.
He's probably way older than 10 years older than me.
Yeah, probably.
He's probably like 60. Yeah, if I'm 40, he's probably 60.
I bet he's pushing 60. And another one from Renato. Thank you, Renato. He says, Bobby, I am out of the Joe game, but I am going to buy your figures just to show support, buddy. You are awesome. Man. Always here to retweet you guys.
Thanks, bud.
Awesome. Thank you, Renato.
He is 61 years old.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we have a pretty cool giveaway. You guys want to get right into that, or should we do another shot?
What is this? Listen, I love Bob. And Bob has said on many occasions that my action force is an extension of his action force, which is the biggest compliment you can ever receive, which I find funny because all those people that say hashtag not my action force. Fuck you, Bob says it is. So I don't know if I would do it. I love Bob. I talk to Bob pretty regularly. Tony talks to Bob very regularly. Someone else is doing that. I'm probably not going to tread on that. You know, I'm doing something new, something fresh. I'm not putting myself in the line. I mean, Bob is definitely worthy of being in the line. Not that I thought about it, but someone beat me to it. But another company is doing it. It's just not something that was on my radar. But I do have the utmost respect for Bob and what he has done. And I don't think making a figure of him or not making a figure of him would change that.
Did you pour yourself another shot?
No, why?
Because I did.
I mean, I'm 3 drinks in and a shot. Right. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm pretty loose right now telling stories. So
we're having fun tonight, guys.
Hey, hey, trolls! Make sure you hang on every fucking word and let me live in that head free real estate, buddy. Hang on.
Oh, unfiltered.
Just remember, views are money for us, baby. Every view.
For
Make sure you downgrade that and be in that 2% minority. That 98%, means nothing.
It's kicking in. Tony, keep starring super chats for me. I'm going to.
I'm going to step out real quick, man. Sorry.
Okay.
Thanks, Dick.
Is everything okay?
Yeah. I'll be back in a sec.
All right. Let's get to
now the real show starts.
Now it gets fun, right?
Now that we got rid of him.
Get that old guy out of here. That old geezer. A whole 4 years older than me. All right. So let's just start off. I'm not going to do this in any kind of order, but I have a random comment picker. And if you guys watched the last episode, you would know that you had to comment in the comments below the last video, hashtag 3POA2K. So as you can see on the screen, there's the URL for our last show. There's the hashtag. I filtered duplicate users. I included replies because I saw some people put the hashtag in replies. And I filtered it based on the hashtag. So I got the YouTube comments. There's 213 people that entered. So when I hit start, we're going to see who wins. And this first one is a $50 gift card to the Nerd Zoic online toy store. That's Matt, Big Nerdy. And this is provided by Earl Potts and the admins of the MLC Facebook group on Facebook. The Facebook group that's on Facebook. So shout out to those guys. And a link to that is in the description below. So this is for a $50 gift card. So yeah, I'm just gonna hit it.
Ryan, don't.
Yeah. What?
And we have some breaking news.
Do we?
Do we?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
Yeah. We've got broadcasting live from the 3POA Palatial Palace. I'm Budget Fett, and this is the 3POA 1-year anniversary giveaway. On the docket today, we have 5 incredible prizes. First up, we have a $50 Nerdzoic gift card courtesy of Earl Potts and the MLC Facebook group. We have a NECA TMNT Mummy Michelangelo thanks to our friends at Helidope Toys. There's a GeoJoe Classified Spirit from LaserPants.com. A signed Deseret action figure thanks to our co-host, Vicious Bobby Valor. And finally, a GeoJoe Classified Series Viper 3-pack that has been graciously donated by Articulated Chat. The links to all our sponsors are in the description below. Now pour yourselves a drink and put Captain Solo in the cargo hold, because you're no good to me dead, and we have prizes to give away. I'm Budget Fed, and you stay classy, Tatooine.
Wow, shout out to the Budget Fett.
That was awesome.
I didn't know he listened to this show. Wow. And he just cut in there. That's some crazy technology that guy has. Wow. Like Jack Nicholson Joker from Batman 89. He just cuts into the feed. He just pushes it over.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, so the $50 gift card to the Nerdzoic online toy store. Shout out to Nerdzoic and shout out to Earl Potts. Links in the description below. So let's do it. Let's see who wins this $50 gift card.
I hope it's me.
Hank the Tank. Hank the Tank. Hank the Tank. Hank the Tank. Here's what you do, Hank. You reach out to me on Instagram at 3POA Podcast or on Facebook, 3POA Podcast. Message me your information. But first, what you have to do is if you contact me through Instagram, you have to include your Instagram name so I know it's really you. Otherwise, anyone can send a message and say they're Hank the Tank. So you need to comment on this video under Hank the Tank, your Instagram username. That's what you got to do. So I can see Hank the Tank posted his Instagram username. And is he in the chat tonight?
I haven't seen him.
Okay. If I'm going to give it I'll give it a week and then I'll have to pull alternates or something if they don't get to me. How about that?
If you respond to their comment, they should get a notification on YouTube. So,
good point. Okay, there we go. All righty. So I'm gonna write that down. Why did I do 2 shots? Okay, see here. Hank the Tank. Hank the Tank. All right. The next prize is I got it right here, and this is from HellaDopeToys.com. It is the NECA Michelangelo as the Mummy. They sent this out to me. They said they wanted to contribute to the giveaway. And here is their website right here. HellaDopeToys.com. You go to the website. The first thing you see, Action Force Series 2.
Woo! Thanks, guys.
Now, he reached out to me before the show, and he also wanted to let all 3 POA listeners know that you will get 10% off your order if you use code 3POA.
So does that mean
that?
I could buy Action Force figures at a discount?
10% off, baby. Shout out to Hella Dope Toys. All right, so let's hit it. We're going to pick another winner for the Mummy, Michelangelo Mummy. Austin Kaiser. There we go. Is he here tonight? Austin Kaiser. I don't know. But just reach out to me on Instagram. I hope everyone has Instagram. Reach out to me on Instagram and comment your Instagram name on YouTube. under your comment or under my comment or on this video somewhere. Let me know. I got to confirm it.
It's 2022. I would like to believe that everyone has Instagram.
Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, this one is coming directly from me. The G.I. Joe Spirit action figure. What's his full name? Spirit Iron Knife. Probably the best G.I. Joe classified figure put out this year. It's an awesome figure, man.
Nah, Storm Shadow's better. But anyway.
Storm Shadow's really good too.
Storm Shadow is better.
All right, fine. Whatever. Spirit. Okay. So, I got to write down that last one. Who was that? Who won the last one? Austin Kaiser.
Ryan's a bit lubed up now, eh?
I've been drinking whiskey too. Lubed up.
Lubed up.
So it's Hank, Tank, and then Austin Kaiser. This is a great pod right here.
You can always just go and rewatch the show.
Oh. but then I have to hear my own voice. All right. The third prize.
This is why I don't rewatch our shows.
for the Spirit Iron Knife. Here it goes. Salted pork. There's a lot of names I've never seen in the chat, but we got salted pork.
The salted pork is particularly good. Salted pork, huh?
All right, salted
That's for
pork.
all you Lord of the Rings fans out there.
Salted pork. Reach out to me on Instagram at 3POA Podcast. Send a message. All right. Next up, I signed Desert Rat from Vicious Bobby Valla. Here we go.
You got to pay for it, though.
Mutron 78.
It's fitting that an Action Force fan want it.
That's so cool that someone with the Mouton as their avatar gets the Action Force figure.
There we go. You can get a signed Desert Rat. Retail value on that is what, 60?
I think so.
Yeah, right on. That's a good
should
price.
probably pay people to take them.
Okay, and the last
up now.
The last giveaway item is the Viper 3-pack from Articulated Chad. So, again, reach out to me. I can pass your information on to Chad or reach out to Chad, Articulated Chad, on Instagram. The Viper 3-pack is like $90 retail, too. That's why I didn't order it. $90. Here we go. Darth Clueless. There. That's a name I know. All right. Yep. Darth Clueless. Darth Clueless. I think you're Darth Clueless on Instagram too. So just reach out to me, man. All right. There. I wrote it all down so I don't have to rewatch this show. I'll rewatch like the first hour and a half of Bonner, but not this train wreck. All right.
This train wreck.
Oh, and you know what? I'm going to pick a few alternates here. So if I don't hear from these 5 dudes, the first one up is Russian Bot. I get it. Russian Bot. All right, you're an alternate. I'll reply to your comment on YouTube. Hopefully you get the notification if one of the prizes falls down to you. Excuse me. Another alternate. Redley 697. All right. And how many should I do? How many alternates should I do? Salzburg. There we go. James.
I think it's good to end on James Salzburg.
All right. Cool. Remove that. There we go. Giveaways over. Hopefully, you guys all reach out to me. Why are you guys so quiet? You're not saying anything. You're causing me some serious
emotional damage.
Thanks a lot.
Well, I've actually been speechless for a few days because.
Oh yes.
What's that?
Some sort of Vanguard.
I don't know.
What is that?
What is that, Bobby?
I mean, look, it's no Bratz car, but it looks kind of okay. I'll just say that. I don't know.
What is that? That looks like an Action Force vehicle tease right there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So listen, and like this is definitely not how you run a company, because nobody else runs their company the way I run my company. They sit on information. They don't put anything out. They don't tease anything. They show it when it's ready, this and that. I'm like, literally that day, Rezvani approved the input and concept designs. And I was like, oh, they approved it? All right, let's tease something. Which is totally not how companies normally do things. They wait. But I'm like, no, man. Like, guys, from the very beginning, I have run this company the same way. You're along for the ride. You guys are consumers. You're along for the ride. So it's like, listen, and this is the thing. Like, vehicles is such a divisive topic right now for 6-inch. So it's like, you kind of want to put that stuff out there, because if you spend all this time like working on something and it doesn't work, then you wasted all that time, aka Engine of Vengeance. Could have told you that. I think we had 3 shows telling you that. But this was something that's like, I just wanted to tease a little bit. Like, look, man, and I know, like, there are a ton of people in those posts saying, well, what's the price? What's the price? What's the price? That shows me that people are very price conscious right now.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I've said it from the start, man. Like, if the factory comes back and the cost makes me make it $350, there's probably a good chance I won't do it. Or I'm going to be like, I'm going to have to really think about it. Like, I hope what I've put into this is something that you guys feel is worth the price. I still don't know what that price is going to be. What does that say?
Bobby,
GG.
Bobby, isn't the bullet supposed to wrap around and go back
to the
into
back
the
of the gun and then back in? Oh, and I think the barrel's supposed to break at some point in there too. I just haven't gotten there right now.
It's a pump action M240,
yeah. But can we assume the gunner would be? Yeah, I mean, listen, like, think about if you were in the trunk of an SUV. How would you be? You wouldn't be standing up. You'd probably be kneeling. So probably that's how you're going to be.
What we used to do with the armored Toyota Hiluxes in Iraq was, so we would travel around in 3 vehicles, and just the rear vehicle only. We would actually remove the back seats and put a single rearward facing seat in there.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So for the Action Force Vanguard, which I wasn't expecting to release the name, but I figured why not say it?
It's a cool name.
Good name.
Vanguard. Go look up the definition of the Vanguard. You'll understand why it's such a cool name. But I had literally, like, I thought about names for this forever. I wanted to be cool. I remember me and my wife, we took our kids to go visit my parents in New Jersey, and like the whole 4-hour ride, I was thinking of names for this thing, and I wanted to have a cool name, and I thought the Vanguard was such a cool name. So this is the Action Force Vanguard, and Rezvani is so excited about what I'm putting together. So now you could see that this thing, I'm pushing the level of detail with it. Like the gas cans are going to be tucked in the sides of the trunk area, because that's where they probably be sitting. People are like, oh, why don't you put them on the outsides? Well, no, because if you shot the outside and it blows up, then you're fucked. Granted, if it catches fire inside, you're fucked either. But there's a slimmer chance of it catching fire inside than someone shooting it outside. The M240 Bravo is something that Tony has been pestering me about forever, and it's so exhausting. And I was like, fine, I'll put it with the vehicle. But it is cool that it's with the vehicle. Now, if you read what it says it can be removed from the turret. Is there a turret that maybe has a control arm M240 Bravo that I can attach to it? Maybe. Maybe that turret has something else on it. Maybe there's a secondary turret. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot that's going into the Vanguard, but I'm just letting you guys know vehicles are coming. We're hard at work. I know people want to know the price. We won't know the price for a while.
Well,
go ahead, Ryan.
I just wanted to say there was a lot of questions in that post you made on Facebook, and it's like, this picture is a tease.
Mm-hmm. I know.
It's not meant for all the information to be put out there yet. It's just a little tease.
Yep.
Enjoy the tease, and more information will come when it's ready to be divulged. And don't forget, there's a lot of people concerned. Well, can a figure fit in the back? And man, that I'm like, well, do you see on the top? There's also there's a hatch. You forgetting that? Look at that hatch.
Yeah.
As
of right now,
do people really think Bobby's going to design a vehicle where his own figures can't fit in? Like,
right.
Oh.
See, it's like Ghostbusters. It's 1/24th scale instead of 1/12, just like the Ghostbusters car.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Teases are a double-edged sword. You put a tease out there, half the people get it, half the people come up with questions that if they stopped and thought about it, like, oh, it's a tease, more's coming. I don't have to ask this question now. Does it have a top, bottom, and middle? Yes, Dwight. It has a top, bottom, and middle. And you know what? It doesn't fucking encompass a giant Galactus inside that top, middle, and bottom.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of top, bottom, middle, have you guys seen the newest Articulated Ninja video?
No, is it good? It was as good as
the end scene. I don't know if I want to give it away because you haven't seen it.
But is the end scene as good as our Avengers Endgame end scene? Because listen, I watched that thing like 10 times, and
it's very, very closely linked to it. So
yes.
You just have to go and watch it. I think the first one was better, but it's so cool.
But the end has like basically like the after credit scene where it's the dudes dancing with the coffin on their shoulder,
Okay.
That meme? And on the side of the coffin says top, bottom, middle.
Oh, listen,
it's hilarious.
I know I've said some stupid stuff in my day, but Dwight, I bet you wish you never fucking said that, because man, that was one of the dumbest things you could have ever fucking said. A top, middle, and bottom on a car when you made a Galactus, and I broke down how many parts are in one arm. Man, that was dumb.
Now hold on, Tony, because we didn't get to Ultra Magnetic Lion.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you so much, dude. He says Todd's story was worth the price of admission. Never meet your heroes. Cheers to Tony, Ryan, and Bobby.
Well, it's not like he was like a hero. He wasn't my favorite comic book artist, but it was still like as a 12-year-old, you're meeting Todd McFarlane, one of the hottest comic book creators like out there, like at the time. It's like, so
that's crushing. Just be glad you didn't meet Harrison Ford, because he probably would have shoved you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's not a happy man. But he says, cheers to Tony, Ryan, and Bobby for one of the most legit toy podcasts. Thanks, Ultra Magnetic Lion. Yeah. If you guys didn't know,
one of.
Well, I wanted to expound on that, because I don't know if our listeners knew, but we are the #1 toy podcast on YouTube. That is factual. That's mathematical. It's inarguable. We are the #1 toy podcast on YouTube.
And we're not even any shills.
I don't know. I made that up. Okay.
We are the Top Gear of toy YouTube.
You know what we can do? We should just ride with it, whether it's true or not. Just say it every show.
We'll just say it. We're the #1 toy podcast.
Yeah,
I'm down. I'll drink to that. No,
yeah,
the top of the F tier.
Until someone makes a YouTube video explaining why we're not.
Oh, I can't wait.
YouTube channel, which is just going to give us more views anyway.
Robert Diaz, thank you so much for that super chat, man. He says, thank you, Tony and Ryan, for providing top-notch entertainment. Bobby really is on another level. Man chewed wax, pat gum on the Infinity Equation podcast and stole the show.
That was awful.
That was the Batman 89 trading cards?
Yep.
You
that gum. Yeah, that gum was 30 years old, man. Older than that. It was bad. It was real bad. I remember thinking like, it'd be really funny. And I'm regretting it immediately. It was so bad.
Yeah, I thought you were
so bad.
I thought we were gonna have to call poison control, man.
It was bad. I worried. I worried like the next day. I was like, if I wake up shitting myself, like it's probably gonna be because of that gum.
Alcatraz says #1. Thank you, Jeremy. Alcatraz was the one we celebrated his anniversary with him on Infinity Equation.
Ah, yes, I remember that.
Yeah. Thank you, Alcatraz.
That was the episode I was on, I think.
Was it?
I think so.
I'll have to go back and look. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that's how the show started. Yeah.
I had this silly hat and the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't have is I didn't have this. But I wish I would have had that. That would have been cool. Is there anything else we want to touch on, or should we wrap this up? We're only at like an hour overtime.
Let's keep going. Who gives a fuck?
Alcatraz says it was Tony. It was. There you go. Ooh, I like this one. Hal the Jester says better than Dan Who. You hear that, Dan? We're better than you. Let's start some toy drama tonight, huh?
Wow, Ryan, you've had a couple.
No, I'm just joking with Dan. It's all good.
No, Dan Who's great. I just don't like him when he has that little kid on the show. Brandon, what is it?
Oh, the Scottish guy I really like, Rich.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's Welsh,
Rich
actually.
Is great.
Scottish, but...
I love Rich. Okay. Hold on, wait. What's this? George Aiken Laser needs to shave his head to fit into this group.
No, he doesn't. No, listen, I have such hair envy. No, he keeps that fucking hair. If I could, I wish I could.
I'll just go flock of seagulls for the next episode. Just do like that.
I always say, man, you know what bothers me? The amount of like the levels of technology we have exceeded in like our lifetime. You know, we have phones that, you know, you can watch anything on. It's, you know, it's mind blowing. They have not figured out like a perfect way to regrow hair. How has that not happened? Like, it should be super fucking easy. All the technology we have, figure that shit out. So me and Tony can grow really nice hair. I would love to have a nice full set of hair.
I think they have.
No, nothing's like perfect. Like,
you know, I think at my age,
works, and then you got to keep doing shit. Like, no, I just want hair again.
At my age, I think even if I had a full head of hair, I would still cut my hair like this because it's zero maintenance.
It's definitely zero maintenance.
You can just roll out of bed in the morning and you don't look like you've just rolled out of bed in the morning. So,
right?
Because I've literally just rolled out of bed this morning.
That's true. That is also true.
Drew G's asking if we picked anything up lately. This arrived in the mail yesterday, Drew G.
Ooh.
What's that, Tony?
When my family left England and moved to Australia, we flew to Singapore and we had like 5 days in Singapore. And my parents bought me this from this massive, it was like a 3-story Toys R Us on Orchard Road in the middle of Singapore. So I've always wanted to replace it. They also got me the Xandar action figure, so I need to get a Xandar to ride it. But yeah, I've got a childhood memory of that toy, so when it popped up on eBay, I was like, I'm getting that.
Cool. I got in a box from Lyle Convoy, Thomas, our buddy Thomas. He sent me this McFarlane Build-A-Figure, this Solomon Grundy, which is an awesome figure, man.
Ooh.
Like when it comes to sculpt and paint and detail on these monster characters, no one can touch Todd, man. Like, it's awesome. Now, articulation, scaling, okay, but sculpt and paint, McFarlane's got it on lock.
Ryan, you haven't found that Bane yet, have you?
I have, dude. Every time I go somewhere, I look. I have not seen it.
All right.
I've not seen it.
You know what else you've picked up lately, Ryan? Is a slightly slurred speech pattern.
Ultra Magnetic Lion with the super chat. Thank you. All right, the most legit toy podcast. I'll take it. Toasting. He says toasting with rum for you guys. All right. Are any of you working on a best of 2022 figures or too early? Look, I've actually been working on that all year. So I keep a list of every figure I buy, and if I think it's top 10, I put a little check next to it.
I already know what my number one is. Unless another figure ships before then that figure is going to be number one. But Ryan, you know it's going to be number one.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, it's going to be the Marvel Legends Future Foundation reverse color.
It's the Marvel Legends Robbie Reyes figure.
Oh, that's great.
But just the top in the middle.
Thank you, Ultra Magnetic Lion. I also picked up. Now, look, I guess there was some drama over this figure because Target has been canceling orders left and right like crazy. Well, I casually stroll into Target, and what's on the boat? What they call a boat? It's sitting there in the aisle. A unopened box of G.I. Joe Classified with Lunar, codename Lunar, written on the side. That's that Tiger Force Outback. Now, I know, I get it. I said I'm not getting the Tiger Force one. I'm waiting for the real one, right? And then I looked at him. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to buy this one. It looks really good. This is a great figure. I'm just going to, I got to acetone that tiger off his chest and maybe paint his shirt black or something. And I got one for you, Bobby. It's already on the way.
Thank you. Yeah, Target canceled mine.
Yeah.
Isn't that something, man? Like, listen, the fact that Ryan can see a case of them and then hundreds of people are getting their orders canceled from Target. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Hasbro? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. What else did I get? Oh, I got the Mojo box set.
So you got the one without the liver spots? Oh, no, that's the one with the liver spots. That's right.
Yeah. No, I waited for the box set. I pre-ordered it because it was way too expensive, but I thought the paint job was it's way better than the retail release. So I got that, and it came with the Dazzler, which is not bad. She's got the updated female body. She looks good.
And who is it? Longshot that's in there?
Yeah, and Longshot on the Robbie Reyes body.
I was gonna say, AKA Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, and then the baby Wolverine, which is not posable. Well, the head turns, but it's.
I'm sorry, Ryan Ting. I know you worked really hard, but you know what you were working against. You know.
Poor Ryan.
Poor Ryan. And then you have idiots like Dwight just making it worse. It's Ryan and Dan, who I feel really bad for. Everyone else, you deserve it.
Did you guys get anything else this week? Since Drew asked.
I mean, I get samples in and shit like that. I've been on a comics kick, so I've been buying a lot of comic books lately. But I haven't bought any toys lately.
Didn't you get one of these?
I did. Yes, Ryan sent me a Ethan Van Sciver signed Batman Shadow #1. I was very excited about because you guys know I love the Shadow and I love Batman. He's my favorite.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing. It came out
I didn't know it was a thing either. So I'm excited to read it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about all I got, Drew. Thanks for asking. Let's see here. We got a super chat. Not Top Goon. Thank you. Bobby, you have to consider Steven Seagal as a celebrity figure. He's a sniper special ops.
Oh, bud, I'm sorry you wasted your money on that super chat.
Not Seagal.
If you could make a list of the people that will never be in the Action Force line, Steven Seagal is probably number 1 on that list. So, no. It goes Steven Seagal, then Chuck Norris. I know for all you Chuck Norris lovers out there that keep asking me about Chuck Norris. No.
I like Chuck Norris.
Nope. You've just got a thing about beards, man. That's why you got that Tiger Force Outback.
Yeah, that's right. I actually got one more thing that I wanted to talk about. And Drew, thanks for asking because this is really cool. So they recently redid the movie Venom as a comic Venom, and it came in a 2-pack with Null, right?
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the movie Venom body?
Yeah. And it's got the comic logo. But they included they kept him in those movie feet with the toes, the gangly looking Venom toes, right?
Okay.
Well, Anthony's Customs, he made custom feet, comic book feet, to go on this Venom, and I got them. I got them in this week, and they are excellent.
So wait, will the comic Venom feet not fit on that figure?
I don't know, but this has that movie Venom texture to it.
Oh, gotcha.
It's kind of like dimply and veiny and stuff. And Anthony, he made the feet match this figure like perfectly.
Gotcha. What did the feet look like? They had toes and claws and stuff?
They just had like weird, messed up looking toes.
No.
Which I don't think Venom's ever had in the comics.
I don't think he ever has either, but I'd almost be okay with it because I feel like if I were drawing Venom, like when Venom first debuted, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably give him like clawed feet. Like I'd probably give him, because he's like an alien. He's a monster. I feel like he shouldn't have just comic book feet.
But
that's just me.
Yeah, but this version of Venom, he had feet like this.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah,
and these are much better than the movie thing that they did. Okay, so I got Lyle Convoy, Super Chat. You guys hear about the Bible Adventures figure Kickstarter for next year? I saw pictures of that today. They're doing like Jesus and Moses. And you can get like alternate like black Jesus and like I don't know who's doing it, but
is Scott Knightlick doing this? It sounds like one of his ideas.
No, he does purple dildos.
Sorry, he just had really bad ideas that he pitched to me.
So yes, I did see pictures of that today. I wonder if we should try to bring them up. Well, I don't know, but Thomas, thank you for the super chat. But yeah, they're doing
religion and politics, man, don't belong in toys.
Look, here's the thing:
they just don't.
We live in a world now where everything is going to be an action figure. Like every company is making everything, and if they're not making it, someone's going to do a Kickstarter to make it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I remember in the I'm trying to think, it was probably like the early 2000s, like 01, 02. I was working at a comic book store, and my boss would get like the Diamond catalog, and he would order shit out of it.
Hold on. Lyle says it says pending license or approval next to the Bible figures. I am very confused.
Sounds like you might be waiting a while for that answer.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, sorry,
awesome.
Bobby. I had to cut to that. Go ahead.
That was a good one. So my boss, he would go through the Diamond catalog and be like, dude, look what they're making. And at the time, a company was making action figures of porn star women.
Yeah.
Jenna Jameson, this and that. And he ordered a set, 6 months later, they came in and it was like, we were looking at them and it was like, dude, like you could take their clothes off. They had the vag, they had the tits, like, and I was like, really? Like people are buying these? Like it's a figure.
They were.
So it's like back then they were making figures of everything. So it's like it's got to be even worse now.
Not Top Goon says, "Oh my God! Imagine kit bashing Action Force. Jesus Christ!
This is my worst nightmare."
With the AK-47?
Not in my lifetime, baby. Not in my lifetime.
Oh man, talk about getting canceled.
Jesus.
Thank you for the
exactly.
Super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Not Top Goon. All right. Well, we got to wrap this up because Tony's got to go.
Yeah.
Look, I got to say, Tony, this past year, you pretty much coached me in this whole YouTube thing. And so thank you so much, man, because this has been so much fun. I love doing this show. I never want to stop doing this show. This is the highlight, man.
I look forward to every other Saturday. I wish it was every Saturday.
I mean,
I've tried my best to coach and guide you, Ryan, but without knowing it, I may have even held you back because I ain't no expert at this shit. I try my best.
Well, you
got like 45,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm getting there, yeah. But, people unsub all the time because, they don't like opinion. Everything's got to be awesome all the time.
It's true, man.
People get mad if you don't
like something.
Come on. Have your own opinion? Stop it. You need a YouTuber to tell you to have your own opinion or the opinion you should have.
I know you two guys don't watch Top Gear, but it like popped into my head the other day. There was that meme that I posted on the Facebook group where I put our faces on the three guys from Top Gear, right? Top Gear is it's a British television institution of these three guys who come together for their shared love of automobiles. They do all these different shows about cars, and they bicker and bullshit and banter with each other the whole time. What I've seen this show develop into after the last 12 months, this literally is the Top Gear of toy YouTube channels. And any British viewers who know Top Gear will see how on point that comment is. And I love because I love that show. So the fact that we've kind of naturally developed that same dynamic, because I love and hate you both in equal measure. It's terrific.
Awesome, man.
That's awesome.
You guys appreciate all the nice comments. I hope we do this for many, 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 many years to come. This has been a great year. I love doing it.
I love this show.
Does anyone want to see Budget Fett come back again?
Yes. Yeah, Budget Fett was great. Yeah, that was good. All right. I really have nothing much more to say, but thanks to everyone for tuning in as always, and for sharing the link when you can, hitting that like button, sending these super chats like Not Top Goon. Thank you so much. This just in: Action Force Valaverse Buddha.
Interesting.
And Roll Keeper Bobby as May was funny as S Love. The knowing is half the
He's
battle.
talking about that Top Gear meme. I put Bobby as James May. So,
hey, I was just glad I had hair. So,
well, and actually, and James May's actually done a spin-off series called Toy Stories. He did his own series where he did a whole episode on like Airfix models. He did one on Lego. Lots of British toy lines. Really, really good show.
Where can I watch this? Well,
can we get him on our show?
Oh, I don't know about that.
You said he's British, right?
He's British. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you probably know him then.
Yeah.
Long head, smokes on weed.
Together?
Okay, guess not.
Yeah.
All right. Should I just end it? Thanks everyone so much.
Yeah. Happy anniversary.
Now, real quick. We're supposed to be back in 2 weeks, but I cannot do that weekend. So we're going to discuss after the show when we can come back. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to the 3POA. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook so you can keep up to date. Thanks everyone so much. Later.